Alright, what's going on, chat? How's it going? Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Turning on the music a little. Yo, what's going on, Traveler Flies? How's it going, dude? Let's get everything set up here real quick. We were doing a hobby stream yesterday on our second YouTube channel, Mike Rolls Dice. What's going on, Traveler Flies? Aloha, how you doing? And Jim Horton, what's going on? Hello, new to the channel. Look forward to the tying. I take it your name is Mike. It is. How did you guess? But yes, hello, what's going on? We're glad to have you here. So, we have the somewhat recent, let me pull up here the new video that just came out. That's off, that's down, that's off. Give me a sec here. The Adachi Clouser. So if you guys haven't checked this out, just came out a couple days ago here. We missed the Andromedus brush for the throat, but I didn't have any. But essentially like synthetic flash tail clouser with a lot of epoxy or UV resin is all. But so check that out if you haven't. And today I want to cover some different flies, or I want to at least we have some different suggestions people have or flies people have requested for their channel and stuff. But I have a list of patterns myself. So, and we can always add some to it. Wish I could zoom this in, but essentially I got Cowan's Magnum baitfish, Cowan's baitfish, Henry Cowan's. We have the easy squid we have to do. We have Skoke's flounder and lobster, two flies someone suggested today. Easy body crab, the electric chicken, which I believe is a Mickelson fly if I'm not wrong, which there's like no info about it. I just remember it from an article in Fly Fishing in Saltwater Fly Fishing years ago. Grocery deceiver, essentially just big chunky deceiver fly. And Squimpish school bus bomber someone asked about too as well. But we have a bunch of different flies. Now we did get the magical, this is like a magic material right here. We did get the hot pink fluorofiber for the throats, which even in the camera here, you can see it changing color as we move it. So I'm thinking we try our hand at a Cowan's Magnum baitfish. I've tied some for somebody before for some orders and stuff. But we'll just kind of get the lay of the land for the next video. I've been doing saltwater since 92. Started trout in 79, living in PA, and fished New England a lot. Oh, very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I started saltwater fly fishing, I think in like probably 96 or 7, because I started fly tying when I was like, you know, or probably 98, because I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I took a vice grip and just put a hook on there and took some blue jay feathers that one of the local cats murdered or something. I found feathers outside. But then we ended up getting a fly rod, but it was some point in the late 90s. I got into fly tying and then ended up getting a fly rod. So I've started out in saltwater because I live on Long Island, so I'm just surrounded by saltwater the whole time. We have some freshwater as well, but not as many opportunities for fresh as there is salt. All right, so let's try a Cowan's Magnum baitfish. We'll also be taking a look at the Discord, so if you folks have any flies that you've tied you want to post or something like that, we could take a look. So we need craft fur. We need lead wire, fluorofiber. Let's actually take a look. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but round of applause for Henry Cowan. Because we're just going to look at his website. I didn't mean to hit that, but perfect. That's for Gene. Yo, what's going on, Gene? Remember to save YouTube pipes for Li Flies Mike. We need to help him fix his boat. Yes, exactly. That's another round of applause. Another one. Thank you. Absolutely. You get 3 free hypes a week. It's like a thing YouTube added. It's like just a way to promote a video for free. And you can hype our fly time videos. I can't. It's like you guys got to do it first. I can't see it. Like you guys got to do it in some way or shape or form. But I appreciate the folks that do hype the videos. It means a lot. It helps promote it. Essentially, it's free. You get 3 free a week. It's something they just started doing recently. Let's go ahead and take a look here. The Cowan's baitfish. First striper was on a big bridge on the vineyard. There's the bridge Jaws shark swims under. Ah, okay, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, it's essentially, hold on, I'll show you. Hold on. Does it show it here, or... I don't even know if it shows it on PC. Let's take a look. It'll show it on mobile. It usually says it somewhere around here on mobile. So I don't know what the deal is with PC. Huh. Because if I take a look... Hold on. Hold on. View channel, videos. Let's see here. Right here. When you go to the description of the video, it says height points. So I don't know where that is on desktop. But what you do is you click height points right there. And it says, what do you call it? I can't do it because it's my own video. But you can click that right there. I don't know why it's maybe not on desktop. But anyways, that's what it is. It's something they did recently. Yo, Liam's Fly Time. What's going on? How's it going? Yeah, I don't see that on desktop. It might only be on phone, to be honest with you. Or maybe it's because I'm looking at my own video or something. No, I feel like it would tell me the amount of hypes. It would want to give me that information. Anyways, what are we tying? We're going to be tying this right here. We're going to start off with legendary fly tire Henry Cowan. So, we can use Danville Mono too. I have some here. Instead of the white. We need 3DIs, which we have. Lead wire, which we have. Flat diamond braid. Shout out to Easy Body and Bill from Easy Body for sending some over. We have. Polar fiber for the tail. We're going to be using the Rainey's Craft Fur. The underbelly Flash and Slinky. Yeah, we're just going to be using Steve Farrar fiber. We don't have Flash and Slinky, but in the fluoro fiber and the Flash, the Soft X. Okay. Yeah, we tie saltwater primarily for striped bass, bluefish, false albacore, bonito. But I also, for instance, we just got a huge order. Last year we did it as well, but we tie a lot of flies for, what do you call it, roosterfish. I've taught a lot of flies for giant trevally and tuna in the past, but yeah, we primarily saltwater fly tie. That's a size 1, but we're going to use, I think, either a 2-aught or a 4-aught, maybe. Where's my 4-aught box, anyway? Where's that big box of 4-aught hooks? Well, it's got to be somewhere. We're going to do a 2-aught anyway. We don't need to do a 4-aught. Then we're going to grab some different Steve Farrar fibers here to use. Yeah, I think we're gonna try and get Henry on the channel one of these days soon, because he's an amazing fly tyer with a wealth of information for striped bass, fishing and fly tying and all that. And he guides right now, I believe. Is it Georgia or Arkansas or somewhere? I forgot. But it was it Lake Powell or somewhere? Let's take a look. Hold on. Yeah, it's in Georgia. Or is it Lake Alatuna? Somewhere. He's over in Georgia. He's fishing freshwater stripers now. So, anyways, we're going to be tying the Cowan's baitfish. Because I want to cover this first on the channel, then I'll cover the Magnum one, the larger version. I tie for pike, bass, perch, trout, smallies, sunnies. Oh, very cool. Well, you tie for bass and pike, you can essentially apply most of the flies that we tie here on the channel and just change up the colors of the sizes to fit your freshwater tying is all. Yo, what's up, Paul Bridgers? How's it going, man? Hope you had a great week as well. Hope everyone had a great week. If you guys didn't know, we've been starting to stream on my second YouTube channel, which is focused around wargaming and miniature-related stuff. But so we've been doing some streams for hobby-related stuff. You folks may have seen me saying we've been going live and stuff throughout the week. We're gonna be over the weekend, so I'm streaming over the weekends mostly. But yesterday we did a little stuff. We got to get armies ready for filming battle reports and all that. Excuse me. But tonight we're fly tying, and I do need to record the next video for the fly tying video for the channel. So I think it's going to be the Cowan's baitfish, but we'll see. There's a bunch of different flies I have planned. It's a matter of just recording them. And I just got the big order for the roosterfish stuff, so we're going to be behind the scenes. I'm going to try not to stream it because you guys will get sick of looking at kinky muddlers over and over again. But I'm going to have to tie like hundreds and hundreds of kinky muddlers. So I'm going to get started on that soon because that's going to be for like May and June. All these guys are going to be going down to Baja. A lot of saltwater stuff used for pike. Yeah, a lot of pike, modern day pike flies got essentially a lot of modern day larger, any sort of freshwater fly that's based off of, or most freshwater flies are based off saltwater flies. They're all inspired by like Popovics and all these tires that were tying these larger bunker flies, and they just took that and applied it to pike fishing, stuff like that. Alright, that was an extremely complicated way of getting that thread through there. Also, let me take a look at YouTube. Okay, my camera's lined up good. Did you hear the cold water this year might improve stripers? YOY index? I really hope so, because their spawning has been atrocious. And last year was the worst year of striped bass fishing I've had since I've started fishing in the 90s. We've had ups and downs, but it's been like really bad recently, so. Try and get it somewhat centered for you guys. Let's see, if I reload, is this gonna botch my YouTube? Nah, see, this one works fine. Okay. But I haven't heard that, but that's great. I hope so, because God, it's been pitiful. The bass aren't spawning. They're the spawn survival and like just the amount. Like, we haven't been getting any schoolies and small bass because there's just not very good spawns going on. I'm the first left-handed fly tyer you've seen. There's a good amount of us out here. You'd be surprised. It's funny, I'm left-handed and everything, but like playing guitar, I play right-handed because my dad taught me how to play guitar right-handed. It always makes me wonder if I would have just been a better guitar player if I actually learned left-handed. It'll always bug me. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, we're gonna need some serious straight bass spawns going on because things are getting pretty bad. Whoa!
Colt 45 stream.
Yo! Craggerol coming in with the 45 months. Round of applause. Colt 45 stream. Sheesh. What are you drinking, 40s? Are you drinking 40s? You get wild over there? Nothing beats being in high school and like getting some homeless dudes to buy us Colt 45s. And what was the other name of it? There's another, it was what was the other 40s they used to sell? Something with gold, something, I think it was called. 40s on me tonight, all right. I haven't drinking a 40 since high school, and I think that's the way it's supposed to be. That is not supposed to be, that is not a drink you're supposed to consume when you can buy alcohol. Old English, yeah, Old English. For 420 one year, my buddy duct taped, he did the Edward 40 hands. He duct taped 2 Old English 40s to one on either hand. So they were like duct taped to his hands. So he just was holding these 2 40s and he had to drink them. Oh, God. Those are the days. Yep, Old English, that's right. The 45 months? Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. No, I think he's drinking 40s. Yeah. No, it does. The sewage outflow. So here's the thing. If you have steady sewage outflow of nitrate, the clamming's going to be unbelievable. It's when you get these spikes in sewage flows that you get these dumps of nitrogen, and that's where you get these algae blooms. So if it's a steady supply of nitrogen coming out, you're going to find some of the best clamming in the world. Some of the best clamming in like Connecticut and in places in New York are where sewage outflows are pouring out. It's crazy to think about, but this is from talking to the dude I used to go clamming with. He was telling me how like the best clam in Connecticut was near sewage outflow places. Now they have to have a certain amount of like, you know, I'm sure they test the waters and everything there, but it's just funny to think. But it's when we get these dumps, when it rains and all the fertilizer dumps into the bay, when the, when the sewage leaks and stuff and it rains and we get these large dumps of nitrogen all at once, and there's not the ecosystem that's normally used to it, that you get these algae blooms. And that's where we get these, it starts with green algae. With green algae, it's not actually that bad, green algae. It'll cause like skin irritations and stuff. But the real issue is when that green algae dies and then it becomes anaerobic, sinks to the bottom and starts rotting, and then it kills all the oxygen. And you have brown algae, which the brown algae has this super hardened husk, which is way more durable compared to the green algae. So it's able to essentially outlive the green algae. It blocks out the green algae. The green algae dies, becomes anaerobic, falls to the bottom, rots, becomes anaerobic, the water. So there's like no oxygen in the water. And then that's where you start getting, fish kills, skin irritation when swimming, all that. And like everything starts getting screwed up, the balance of the ecosystem. But if you find places like a sewage outflow from like a sewage processing plant or something like that, and you get all this steady nitrogen pumping out, there'll just be millions of clams lined up on the outflow, and they'll just be filtering it all. Yeah, the other thing with bass catching bass near sewage outflows and stuff like that, I believe a lot of times the water is generally also like potentially warmer, so you get these like warm meets cold water and stuff. So like there's power plants. You'll see during the wintertime, it was very popular back in the day before like 9/11 and stuff, to go and sneak and or just go fish at these power plant outflows, to where the warm water was outflowing in the wintertime. The striped bass will sit in these outflows, and you'll have these like resident fish, and they're big fish too. Zeke can tell you about it. Zeke used to do it back in the day. But I think they cracked down on that after global terrorism, or the war on global terror. So we're going with craft fur for the tail, not polar fiber, because Rainy's craft, I believe they're very similar. We should get some polar fiber one of these days and tie a couple flies with both and make a video on it. That'd be a fun one. But the size 2/0 hook, this flies right around 4 inches. That's kind of where we want it. Oh, I also forgot before we, luckily it doesn't matter, but we have to do something important right now. So you know what? Actually, let's untie this real quick. Let's do it proper. I completely forgot because we were talking about clams and... Oh, it said chat disconnected. Are we good? YouTube chat? Some Miller High Lifes would be great. We got to put some lead wire on here. I got so excited about clamming. So we're going to wrap some lead wire first. Got so excited about sewage outflows. So the whole idea is we're creating a lead keel. You've seen me do it with Sadati slammers and all that. It's no different. So we're just going to wrap some .035 diameter lead wire. Good? All right, cool. We're good. You fish there with tandem clousers in the outflow. Oh, that was a secret tech, huh? Tandem clousers. Clean water is exciting, yeah. It's rare we get it nowadays. Seems like. Okay, so we have lead wire wrapped on here. This is going to keel the fly, making sure it turns over properly, and it's going to sink at a quicker rate than if it was without it. And now we got to cover this in body braid. See me, if I was designing this fly, super lazy, just tie over it. Henry Cowan, he's like, nope, we're going to wrap it in body braid and then tie on top of it. Ho, ho, ho. Okay, I see. You got it. I guess, theoretically, maybe we can tie this, like right here at the end. And then we can wrap it. Just to expedite it. Oop. Unless we tie this on top. I mean, I'm assuming, you know what? Let's tie it on top. So let's wrap it. Because if I'm not wrong, he does this first, then he wraps it in body braid, and then he'll tie it. But either way, it doesn't really matter. I think he does this first, though. Oh, and this is where I should probably go a little super glue. Yeah, we're using mono thread. This is the Danville mono, not the... I was using the other stuff from the fly shop. I forgot what brand, but that stuff breaks so easy. This is Danville mono from saltwaterflies.com. The fine works really good. So we coat that. Now we can just wrap back and start tying our tail. I believe this is how he does it. We'll tie a little bit more. You always end up losing some. Always, always, always. So what's everyone been up to? Are we doing any fishing? Are we doing any fly tying? Just chilling? Anything exciting? I got to record, I got to edit. We filmed the new battle report the other day, so I got to edit that. That being said, the second YouTube channel, Mike Rolls Dice, is killing it. Like, each video is getting more and more views. We were doing some live streams, and people are actually watching, so that's cool. But I'm excited. It's probably going to be like a month and a half till I get to 1,000 subscribers on that channel. But I'm at like 817 or something. I don't know. But that channel's growing way faster than this one is. But it's just crazy. It's crazy having two YouTube channels kind of that do two completely different things, you know, and seeing how they compare. But I'm excited to. That channel is gonna fix my boat. I'm telling you right now. So if you want to fix the boat, go subscribe to Mike Rolls Dice on YouTube. Okay. Help me get to 1,000 subs, because the watch time and the views on that channel, I think, it's gonna be pretty good. What flies to use on a spring dropper rig? Also, what's going on, Frosty? How's it going, dude? I hope you're doing well. I'm making like 10 other accounts as we speak. I don't know about that. It's just the one. Just the one helps. On a spring dropper, I like using like a small flat wing or a raised fly. Or this is what I would do. Flat wing, then a raised fly, and then above that, so you have two droppers. Using double surgeon loops. I would put a shrimp fly. Or not double surgeon loops, double surgeon knots and tag ends is what I would. Nah, I know you're messing around. You're tying trout wolf flies? Ooh, very cool. Very nice. Very nice. I like it. All right, so we're going to apply some liquid fusion here because I personally don't use Softex. I may again in the future, we'll see, but I really did not like breathing that stuff in, especially commercially fly tying. I think if you're tying normally, it's one thing. But I think the liquid fusion's pretty darn close enough, if you ask me. Essentially, we just want this polar fiber tail to give us some action in the rear. I might even just tie a little bit more on, and then we'll just use the bodkin to help spread some of that liquid fusion to the new stuff. Like so. There we go. Now we can start tying the Steve Farrar fiber section. Also, let me make sure this is all nice and even and level. Yada, yada, yada. Looks like it is. Okay. So, Fran Better's patterns. I'm not familiar. I don't know much about trout, though. The basics. I know the basics. I've done a fair amount of trout fishing, but it's always like I don't know much when it comes to wet flies and dry flies and all that. So we're going to start doing, these are all V-ties, and we need to make sure that we use a sparse amount of material for sure. Hit that like button. Yo, what's going on, Slim Thunder? How's it going, dude? Tried fishing last night, but I only saw mullet. You can catch mullet, by the way. It's kind of tough, but the larger ones at least. Adirondack Legend. Ah, okay. It is tough, but people do catch mullet on the fly. You can use little tiny like nymphs or tiny stuff. Shrimp flies or something. All right, we're going to be using gray because I don't have a lot of white. So, but this is like a off-white, so it's not that jarring. Main thing is we got to keep it sparse. Sparse, sparse, sparse. I always end up, Henry ties his flies a little bit sparser than me with the synthetic stuff, so I got to keep it sparse. And we're V-tying. I'm trying to look at the length here because we kind of want it to taper and then work its way, so this should be good for the first one or two ties. We'll go with a color up top. Chat, I'm going to let you guys, what do you think? And whoever comes up with the coolest color combination, I'll pick. I'll show you what colors we got. I have been liking the tan with chartreuse, so that might be my kind of vote, honestly. We got pink, yellow, blue, olive. So let's see. These are the colors we're working with right here. Olive, blue, yellow, pink, chartreuse, and tan. What do you think we should use? I'm thinking we'll use two colors. Or, I mean, we could go pretty wild. We could, like, start off with yellow, then go chartreuse, then go olive, you know, something like that. But we could just keep it, like, you know, we're going to be using off-white for the belly. We can use a main color for the top, and then we could do something at the end or something. Well, electric chicken would be, like, grizzly yellow. Atomic chicken. Green, pink chartreuse. Blue olive. Alright, well, we got a couple chicken requests. I'm going to make it bright. And I think we'll use this yellow. But the electric chicken or atomic chicken... Let's see, is atomic chicken different than electric chicken? Because the electric chicken is like a Glenn Mickelson color is what I consider it. Or did you just make that up? Oh, this is atomic chicken, okay. That's like a Tutti Frutti. Atomic chicken! Is that it? Is that it? The lunker? Unfortunately, I don't have the colors for this. But we'll do... What about electric chicken? See, that's funny. This is what I call Tutti Frutti. But I guess Tutti Frutti is short... No, yeah, the pink over chartreuse. Yeah. Isn't this just Tutti Frutti? Right? Am I wrong, or... The Electric Chicken by Glenn Mickelson. No. It was in an article back in the day. White belly, pink stripe in the middle, green back. Ooh. And we'll kind of do something like that. What I'm thinking is we'll use this fluorescent yellow for half of it, and then we'll go chartreuse for the front. That's the idea. Okay. I would love to find that article, though, because I don't remember exactly. So I'll have to make a video tying Glenn Mickelson's Electric Chicken Deceiver and do the disclaimer. I don't know if this is exactly how it was tied, but this is like a relic of my memory from old saltwater fly fishing magazines in the 2000s. And try and tie it to my best ability, you know what I mean? Try and remember how it was tied. So I think what we actually need to do here is like just take some and actually cut it so I don't end up with any waste or something. So again, you got to keep it sparse, man. It's like the whole thing with this fly. It's kind of tricky tying on the body braid, but you get used to it. And we're going to focus most of the material top and bottom with this particular fly. We're going to have it kind of spread on the sides, just ever so slightly. But again, we got to keep it sparse. All right. The bluefish will love it. Bluefish love everything. Well, not always, but They're not the pickiest bunch. Especially if you know how to throw it, get it in their face and aggravate them. So we're always going to take a little super glue and apply it to our threads as well. Being lazy, I should have a little piece of paper to smooth it. Or like a hard piece of cardboard. Okay. Now we can move forward. Do the same sort of thing. I'm actually going to make it ever so slightly smaller. So essentially each time we're just going to go a little bit shorter, a little bit shorter. And when we start getting towards the front, we're going to really start drastically shortening the length of the material. And don't worry, we ain't going to do pink on the side, but what we are going to do is we're breaking out finally using, I bought it specifically for this fly, and it's bigger brother, the fluoro fiber. Finally. I've not wanted to use, it's such a small pack, I don't even want to cut into it unless we're doing this. It wasn't very expensive, but still, it was a tiny little fly tying pack. Like, I'm a saltwater fly tyer, not a trout guy. You got to give me a bigger pack of material than this. So essentially, we're just tapering the length down as we move forward. My super glue. Okay. I'll tell you what, though, season's flying. I mean, time's flying by already. Before we know it, it's going to be striper season. So I gotta get. We're recording as many battle reports as we can for Mike Rolls Dice, the second channel, before my buddy Eric has to go back to work. And then I gotta get as much fly tying done as I can before striper season starts, because I mean, last year we got started with a bang, videos about stripers, this and that, and then the fishing was so bad, I completely lost motivation to make any videos about striper fishing. Because I can only show the same B-roll footage so many times. I have to like go out and catch some fish, get some new footage. But dude, it was bad. Thank God we had a good albie season, because that saved it. But I'm hoping we get a good striper season this year, so I can get super motivated to make some cool videos. I mean, no matter what, I'll make some, but it just makes the process a lot easier when the striper fishing's really good. Instead of me like, yep, this is what you could be doing, except there's no fish anymore. Like the whole video, I'm just like doom and gloom. Well, at least this is what you could do with your fly rod if there was any fish. Like every other sentence. God, this guy's a real pain in the ass. Hopefully it'll get better. We'll see. We will see. All we can do, and then, you know, try and support places like the Saltwater Guide Association, Stripers Forever. And if there's something, I did my part. I made sure to let people know, and I put my opinion out, or I wrote an email or whatever to the ASMFC about their striper legislation. They were holding a hearing. They didn't make any changes, but I let them know I think what changes should be done, you know. So I wrote to them and everything, but you can only do so much. But I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully the striper fishery bounce back and we get like what we had in the in like the 90s, late 90s, 2000s, when the striper fishing was like just absolutely phenomenal. All right, I really got to shorten the length of the material now. Also, even you can see how sparse I've been keeping it. It's still like almost like, I gotta remind myself, let's keep it sparse, you know? Now we're gonna start shortening the length of the material down quite a lot. In fact, maybe on the last one we should have, but we can do some trimming as well. What do you think about stripping baskets? Stripping baskets are pretty much essential for northeast fly fishing. Come out west and fish the spring with me? Yeah, I know the spring's been pretty good. What's going on, Salty Dog? How's it going? I saw you've been, you guys have been doing all right. But the whole point is, like, you know, I think a good indication of how healthy the fishery is like, I walk out of my house and I walk down the hill and there's a little salt pond near me. And I'm telling you, I've traveled all over early in the season, but that spot for me has been just a consistent early on in the year. Like, I don't even need to go anywhere. I grab a white claw, I walk down there after doing a fly tying stream and go catch some fish. But the past year or two, the past 3 or 4 years, it's slowly been degrading. Like the fishing further and further back in the bay. I think that was a good indication of a lot of smaller fish we had in the area as well. Like the schoolies and stuff were the ones that were coming back there, not, you know, big fish. But I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Hopefully we get better fishing, but I do appreciate it. I might need to join you. I have a ton of people. Luckily, I have a ton of people offering to take me out, which is nice until I do fix my boat. But you think it's the bait dying off, like the bunker? I mean, honestly, the bunker last year there wasn't a lot of bunker off the ocean, but previously before that there were more bunker than we've ever seen before. Like the Menhaden are doing very good. There is still like giant corporations fishing them out in federal waters or whatever, or like leaving New Jersey or like Virginia. But like people like I used to work with this dude and we were bunker fishing small scale here in New York. People like him helped fight to reduce the limit that Virginia and New Jersey gets and give more limits to places like New York and Massachusetts with small scale bunker fisheries. So they kind of, the bunker fishery has kind of popped off the past couple of years locally. All of our ocean beaches have just been covered in bunker. And I'm talking about like millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds of bunker off the South Shore of Long Island. Last year there wasn't as much, but this was stuff that like we really didn't see previously. Like all my years, like growing up and stuff like that. That sort of like bunker fishery off the beach. Whales, dolphins everywhere, striped bass, sharks, tuna. This is why all the tuna are close inshore off South Shore of Long Island. They're eating all these bunker. Like right off the beaches. It's crazy. But, what do you call it? No matter what, the Menhaden are in trouble. That's why the Menhaden Project and stuff like that is good, you know? But I think the bunker fishery is kind of coming back, but really what it is the overfishery of striped bass and also the lack of spawning in striped bass. So essentially what's going on the past 5 years or so, you can go back and look at charts from them testing the spawning results, but the fish aren't either having successful spawns or after spawning, the like fish aren't reaching maturity and stuff like that. But I think it's the spawns in themselves, which that could be environmental, that could be all sorts of stuff. It could be related to chemicals, it could be related to the temperature, it could be related to the fishery as well. And I think we're just also not getting a lot of, the striped bass fishery in general is overfished. Not only commercially, but both recreationally. And the catch and release mortality rate recreationally is higher than it's ever been before. So it's all compounding factors that lead to the striped bass fishery being in like essentially dire straits. Like we're not that far off. They were talking about a potential moratorium, or if not, at least closing the fishery for part of the year, which would have a huge impact on guides, tackle shops, essentially everybody. But at the same time, they were like, do we need to do a moratorium? We might need to. You know what I mean? So, and if you talk to anybody that lived through the striper moratorium in the 70s, the fishing was like terrible. They did the moratorium. The fishing, it was like 36 inches when they opened it. You could keep something over 36 inches or whatever. Every fish, it was not every, but there were tons of 36-inch fish around and stuff like that from talking to all these old timers. I don't know what the right thing to do is, you know? I really don't know what the right thing to do is, but it's tough. But this is a multi-billion-dollar recreational industry. It's far more important than I think a lot of people think up here in the Northeast. I mean, a lot of these towns, like where I live, like half of the economy runs off of fishing. You know what I mean? So, with fishing guides, tackle shops, lodges, this, that, you know, especially like places like Montauk. You know what I mean? But there's so many factors that's involved. It has to do with water quality, water temperature. So, for instance, if water temperatures globally are going up or something like that, that could have a direct impact. And that's why places, I think that's one of the reasons why New Brunswick, as water temperatures rise, striped bass are thriving up in places like New Brunswick up in Canada, because it's becoming like the ideal water temps and substrate riverbeds for them to spawn and whatnot. Was 38 inches a year or two ago? Yeah, but the whole idea is that if you shut the fishery off altogether and then they came back with the moratorium or whatever, and you set it at like 36 inches, that's with a healthy fishery. You need a healthy fishery for that. We don't have a healthy fishery right now. So if we make the size limit 42 inches right now, it doesn't mean like we're immediately going to be like, oh, there's a lot more 42-inch fish around because people aren't keeping fish under 42. We don't have the fish under 42 right now, you know? Got to make some flies for peacock bass in the Kalasachi River. I got over here by me. Oh, nice. Yeah, I tied some for my buddy who went down to Brazil or like Colombia or some shit. Somewhere. I don't even remember. And he caught some giant peacocks, which I still need to make a video on those particular flies. The jungle slammers are what they are. Man, I think I might have used too much material. So easy. Alright. We want it to be short here, so get the tunes going again. Just cut that like that. Get the excess out. God, I gave myself no room for this V-tie here. Living on the edge. But hey, we got it. Like right on the edge of where the lead wire is wrapped. So we got to remember fluoro fiber throat, the most important thing. No, we're looking pretty good. We can always trim up a little bit if we need. It's actually a funny spot in LI, Bubble Falls, that is said to have sea run browns. Yeah, there is sea run brooks. So there are wild brookies in the Carmens that flow out. There's also stocked rainbows and browns in various places, and there are ponds and there are outflows. There are rivers like the Carmens, the Connecticut, the Nissaquah. There are sea run trout all on Long Island. It's just like it's very rare to catch them. Yeah, there's wild brook trout on Long Island in the Carmens River, and there's wild brook trout in the Nissaquah. There's not any more in the Connecticut because they killed everything in the Connecticut because there was this disease, and they reset it. But the Carmens River, which is the closest one to me, it's the furthest one east on the island, is one of the only places on Long Island with wild brook trout. The Connecticut's all farm-raised fish or whatever, hatchery fish. They're dumb as hell. But the the Carmen's River, you'll find native brook trout, wild brookies, and you can tell the difference. They look completely different than the hatchery raised one. Yeah, the salters. The kid that I was clamming with caught some. Apparently, he didn't tell me where. He kept it a secret because somebody else took him there. But somewhere on a boat. I bet you it's by me. I wouldn't be surprised. Because there are also some ponds and lakes that they stock trout. You know what I mean? So these could be like the sea run. What do you call it? Stocked trout. But there is wild brook trout that make it out there, and then what do you call it? This is where we're doing fluorofiber, by the way. And then make it out into the bay. The problem is they have to get by 30,000 people fishing for white perch with buckets. And the other thing is, it's like during the winter you have to go in like February. It's probably like this time of year when it's like ice cold out. The other thing is, and if it's not frozen over, which it could be this time of year, because we've had a remarkably cold winter on Long Island this year. But they get eaten by striped bass and stuff like that. So it's very rare that you get a trout that actually successfully like makes it out and can come back, you know? I'm sure a ton do, though. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, we don't need much of this stuff. This is the secret weapon according to Henry Cowan right here. This stuff, as you can see, look, it's nice and hot pink, right? Watch what happens when I turn it. It turns red. See how it's changing colors? See that? This is the secret weapon. He said this stuff right here, whenever he put this in the flies, they caught more fish. Whenever he didn't, they caught less fish. Whether or not you take that and run with it or not, I don't know. It's up to you. But you can't tie one of these Cowan's flies without using the fluorofiber. After talking to him, he was adamant. This is like the secret weapon. So, we're going to take his word. I would like to do a test. Maybe me and Zeke will go out, and when there's actually like some fish happening, maybe we're marking fish or something in the bay or something. What we could do is one of us will fish. We'll take two identical flies, tied the exact same way, except one has fluorofiber, and then we'll try it out and see what's what. Which one's better? Which one does the job? He swears by it, and like I always say, when you get a somebody like that has that much experience with designing flies, tying flies, this and that you generally listen to him. So we'll try it out. I don't know. Can I fit like two more ties, or do I just do the one more tie? I don't know, because I'm kind of at an awkward angle at the top, and I want the. Maybe we just stick with the yellow, I guess. I think I can. Yeah, all right, let's see. Let's go with some chartreuse for this last tie. Do I have chartreuse? I do. Man, the heat kicked on. It's hot as hell in here now. That's way too long. Let's cut this in half. Yeah. Should be fine. Wrap off. We got to get some tunes going. It's dead quiet. Jerry, hit the drums. By the way, I've been playing. I showed the Mike Rolls Dice stream, the little peacock Halloween music video, and now like everyone loves it. And Little Peacock is going to end up becoming... I'm going to make a Little Peacock miniature for my German Axis army in this alternative World War II thing. So Little Peacock's going to be an evil German warlord, essentially. We're going to print a model, everyone. Like, people have been helping me look for a Little Peacock ski mask face on the Conflict 47 Discord and stuff. So Little Peacock is going to become like a famous evil German Axis villain in what do you call it? In the Conflict 47 community. So I just want you guys to know that what started out as a dumb fly tying thing for us is going to end up like becoming like he's going to be like super popular in this game. Oh, I love it. It's so funny. No, I think that's pretty good. I think we got it here. What are his stats? I'm going to be using... There's an evil Axis hero called Heinrich Gross. That's like a supervillain. I'm going to use the supervillain stats because otherwise I would just name him and just pick a generic platoon commander, which is like just like a regular dude. They give your guys a buff because you need your commander on the battlefield to say, "Move it, damn it." We're gonna glue some eyes on here. I think we're gonna brush and potentially trim first. That's what we're gonna do. Yo, what's going on, Ackman? How's it going? What do you want me to call you, by the way? I keep calling you Axe Sandman. That's like not your name at all. Like, what do you want me to call you? But I just read it as Sandman or Actman or something. You tell me. We do a slight little trim job here. So we kind of want it to go like whoosh. Let's do a little whoop. I've just been calling you what I feel like. What do you want to call it? Because it's not. Is that your last name or something? You tell me what you want me to call you. I just find it so funny every time. I'm like, Axe Sandman. Like, that's definitely clearly not what it's supposed to be. It's kind of lightly. This is where it helps, like, just having the material at the proper length so you don't have to do any trimming, but that's okay. Now, main thing is we don't want to trim our fluoro fiber, so. I'm just going to go like this. That should be good. Again, there's a reason why you keel this fly. We still want it to actually have a proper profile in the water. We don't want it to be super skinny, slim down. Want it to push some water. Hannah Sandman. Sand is good. Sandy? Is that what it is? Sandy? Is that... How do I pronounce... What do you want? How to... Give me the pronunciation. Whoa! Point Blank coming in with the raid. Round of applause, everybody. Mr. Point Blank. Isn't there like a new fancy thing that I can just like, I think I'll do it the old-fashioned way. S. Point Blank. I don't remember. Is there a cool way is there like an easy way I can do this nowadays for a shout out? But thank you, my friend. Round of applause. He does tie flies too. Point does tie flies on Twitch. So exclamation mark S at Point Blank. Is that it? Or is it exclamation mark SO? I forgot. I have like 2 different commands. That didn't work. So let's try exclamation mark SO at Point Blank. Hey, that works. Yeah, if you folks are interested, check out. It's P0INT blank. Point Blank on Twitch. He streams fly tying as well. He's one of the only people that stream fly tying in general. And he's been doing it quite a long time, too. And he also streams fly fishing, which I used to do, but now I don't because my bitrate sucks, and I'd rather just go fishing. So he actually streams trout fishing and stuff like that. Yeah, but you didn't have to do the @ on one of them. I don't have to do the @ or something. I think the S, maybe I don't need the @ or one of them doesn't need the @ so you actually might be right. But anyways, thank you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Appreciate it. I hope you had a good stream. What were you up to? You're tying some flies? You're making and crafting, it looks like. What's up, dude? I hope you're doing well. Appreciate it. Listen, are you multi-streaming on YouTube or what? You should be multi-streaming on YouTube. I get way more people watching me on YouTube than I do Twitch. I mean, mind you, I have a fly tying YouTube channel, but I bet you there's a lot more people watching fly tying on YouTube than there are Twitch. You're not a partner. It can't hurt you. They're not gonna like strap what's the Twitch CEO, Dan or whatever? He's not gonna like tie you to the chair and attach a car cables to your balls. You didn't sign a contract. You might as well multi-stream. Check it out. There's like some Twitch person watching. No, no, no! Damn you! I'm serious, dude. I was going to stop streaming because, you know, I mean, I wasn't because Doc, Brew, and Jin, I would just stream forever to like 7 viewers. But now with YouTube, like, I don't know how many people are watching. I don't take a look, but what are we at? Yeah, we got like 26 people watching, which is way more than usually on Twitch. So shout out to everyone watching on YouTube and Twitch, of course. But I pretty much stopped watching Twitch in general. Now, mind you, I don't run ads during my stream, but a lot of streamers do, and like the amount of ads was unbearable. I pretty much just stopped watching Twitch. But unless I'm subscribed to a channel. But I recommend it. You should also be doing some like YouTube videos. Take your streams and like do some highlights or something. I don't know. Something simple. Mind you, my whole thing is like tying flies, teaching people how to tie flies, like with videos and stuff, or doing topical videos on like this and that. You don't have to go that in depth, but you could just live stream as well. It's not going to hurt you at all. I have a YouTube. I should throw up recaps just so I can keep the memories. Yeah, that's the downside is you could also just put your VODs. You could also just, but if you're live streaming on YouTube, your VODs stay forever. They never delete your live streams. So you should just multi-stream just so you'll have your VODs forever, and you can tell people they can go back and watch the VOD, because Twitch will delete your VODs after a certain amount of time. But I'm telling you, I bet you'll probably get even more people watching, because point blank's killing. He'll have like 50, 60 people watching and stuff like that. He's a real streamer. Hey, thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. I just enjoy tying flies. So, I've been tying flies commercially, professionally for a living for businesses and guides for quite a while now. Full time for like 5, 6, 7 years now. Don't make a lot of money doing it. And you spend a hell of a lot of time tying the same 100th surf candy over and over and over again. So the making YouTube videos thing and going in on this and like also making a little money doing it from ad revenue and stuff like that, it really helped invigorate, like, because I was starting to like, I'm like, dude, man, this sucks. You know what I mean? Like just commercial fly tying over. It's still great compared to working for other people and stuff like that. Even though I don't make that much money compared to like being a mechanic like I used to be. But like making videos and like giving me a reason to try tie some new flies, and also like doing these discussion videos. I really like the discussion videos because it's fun. This is what I like about fly tying is like, why are you tying this material on there, this, that, like yada, 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 as opposed to just tying flies over and over again, you know what I mean? But, so it definitely helped like reinvigorate my passion for fly tying because I've been doing this for 20-something years, fly tying, and I've been doing it commercially over 10 years. I've been doing it as my main source of income for the past 6, 7 years. So the real thing that helps is, and it happened, you can ask Zeke. We were walking around randomly at the fly show. Oh, you're Li Flies Mike. I love your videos. That's the real reason I do it. You know what I mean? And when other people are like, I go up to like, at the fly show, we went up to like Bear's Den, and the dude's at Bear's Den. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get some information about this because nobody knows what I look like really because I don't show my face. And I'm like, yeah, my name's Mike, Li Flies Mike. They're like, oh, dude, we love your videos. You know what I mean? That's the thing that I always love. Or when people like Alan, Kiala or Kalea, I still don't know how to pronounce his name. I make a video covering a fly tire, and then that fly tire reaches out to me and says, hey, thank you so much for making this video about my fly. Like, are you kidding me? That's happened multiple times now. So that's the icing on the cake. Because a lot of fly tires that I grew up learning about and the flies, newer generation may not know as much about Henry Cowan or Alan Kaleo or Mark Sadati, or all these different people, you know what I mean? Because you kind of had to be around here in the 90s, early 2000s for like the real boom in saltwater fly fishing to maybe know some of these people or really have a good understanding, grasp on their fly tying and what they're all about, Bear's Den? Oh yeah, Bear's Den been around for a long time. I never tied for them or anything like that. They're up in Mass, but they've been around for a long time, and they're cool dudes. I've talked to them at the shows before. I also, I work with saltwaterflies.com. I work with Saltwater Edge. I work with a ton of different people in the industry and different material places. So, I've just talked to so many people over the years. So, Oh, Gunnar Brammer is a fantastic fly tire. Yes, sir. Okay, that's what I'm glad, Jay. As long as you folks are learning something, you know what I mean? That's the most important thing. But yeah, Bear's Den is one of the like New England fly shops. So, there's not too many up here that are like that large. And like Saltwater Edge, Bear's Den, these are like physical places that also have online shops they've been around for a while. Never left Bear's Den without spending $100. That's why I don't go to fly shops anymore. It's dangerous, dude. I'm happy they're all far away. ACK is the airport code for Nantucket, where I live, and my dad was a commander of a squadron in Spain. Their mascot was Sandman for the port wine that was made there. Okay, very cool. That makes that explains it. All right. Is it pronounced Sand? Is it pronounced Sand or something? Or yeah, well, that's one of the things. We are going to have a series where we cover fly tires from the past. like Bill Catherwood, all these different people. And, you know, I mean, a lot of these folks have passed away, but there's a lot of folks that are still living today that are still relevant. I would love to have Henry Cowan on. I would love to have all these different folks sit down and maybe have a conversation over Zoom or whatever. Or if that's not available, just do a video talking about them and their flies. Because a lot of these people were like, you know, pretty important. It's not just Bob Popovics. Bob Popovics didn't invent every saltwater fly. You know what I mean? A lot of, you know, or Blaine Chocolate. You know, it's like folks only know a handful of people nowadays. But unless you have been tying for years, you know, you may not know that a lot of these flies, you know, Bob Popovics was inspired by Bill Catherwood. You know what I mean? So, and stuff like that. How hard would it be to tie commercially on your own? What would you say is required? And maybe some things you need to... it's very hard. I don't know. It's really tough. You're not going to make any money. That's the one thing, is you're not going to make any money tying commercially, unfortunately. You'll make enough to cover your stuff, but you're not going to get, you know, you ain't going to buy a new truck, I'll tell you that much. But the best thing is it's like connections. You got to just reach out to people and put yourself out there, and you have to do some research as well, see what people are charging. You have to talk to other fly tyers and stuff like that. And but yeah, you'll never see somebody that ties flies for a living that's like successful financially. Everybody who develops flies is a fly designer, this and that. They're all either fishing guides, because they can make $800 in a day, and even then fishing guides will tell you that they don't make money, or they own like businesses, or they're professional chefs or something. Like Bob Popovics owned a restaurant. That's where he made his money, not fly tying in his books. David Nelson owns a restaurant. That's where he makes his money. And Squimpish, not from tying flies and doing fly fishing shows. You know what I mean? So, and there's not many people. There's only a handful of like guys that design flies that tied flies commercially for a living. Glenn Mickelson was one. And he was like, by the end of it, he was like, screw that. Don't ever ask me to tie you another fly again. When the fly shops were reaching out to him, he's like, don't ever ask me to tie you another fly. I'm done for the rest of my life. I'm never tying flies for you guys ever again. So that was, what do you call it? I loved hearing that. He's like, they're like, hey, Glenn, could we get some flies? He's like, hell no, I'm never doing this shit ever again. Like, on up. He did it for like 30 years or something. Yo, what's going on, Big E? How's it going, dude? I make money, but it's passive income, not primary. Oh, yeah, you can make some money, but that's the thing. When I say you're not going to make money, I mean you're not going to be able to... I do this for a living full time. I'm not going to be able to buy a new truck or something like that. You know what I mean? You're living paycheck to paycheck, essentially, doing this. Unless you're selling $30, $40, $50, $60 flies, and maybe you're like Ben Wally or like... You know, even then, like Andrew's Custom Flies, the dude welds for a living, you know? And he still sells $100, what do you call it? Beast flies. You know what I mean? So, just something to think about. I'm telling you from somebody who's done it for a living, and from talking to other people who have done it for a living, you will not make money. You might make you might make a couple $100 after tying an order, but if you look at the actual costs versus your time and effort, you're far better off doing other stuff for a living. You know what I mean? Than tying flies. So. But, anyways. At least that's from my experience. Maybe some other folks have been far more successful, for all I know. And like I said, when I say make no money, I don't mean like you physically are in net negative. But... You know what I mean? I can make display cases with flies too, not just bait and tackle shops. So yeah, it can be done. Yeah, but that's completely different. If you're making fly display cases, then you're literally doing carpentry. Like, it's like that's like a little different than just tying flies. So, but I mean, try and do it full time for a year. Let me know how you make out. All right. That being said, we got ourselves we're going to let this dry for a little bit, and then we're going to glue this up with some liquid fusion. Also, we're going to take a quick little break so I can go grab another drink. Full dress salmon flies? Yeah, there you go, right? Oh, tying flies and then put them in display cases. Oh, okay. You're talking about like the salmon dress flies or something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, then you're like, what are you selling them for like $500-600 or something, or like $300-400? Then I could see it or something, right? But it's impossible tying fishing flies, making money for a living, to compete against like what Calvin's saying. These like, they pay people $1 or $2 a day, and they have 45 people. One person will tie the tail, one person will do the V tie, next person will trim, next person will glue, and they're banging out 1,500 of these things in a day or whatever. You know what I mean? But luckily, people will pay more money for a hand-tied fly all flies are hand-tied. Such a dumb thing to say. For a fly tied from somebody like me, because I actually fish, so I know what the flies fish like and stuff like that. And the other thing is, it's also very hard for people, or it seems like for places like Rio, to keep flies in stock like the kinky muddlers. You know what I mean? So that's where those sort of flies, fishing flies that people want the best quality fly for, if they're going on a trip, they're fishing or whatever, that's where they come to people like me. Otherwise, they can just go to Rio or just go online, and you can buy these things. Not that they sell them anymore, I think, by the way. I don't know if I think Umpqua got rid of these in particular. But that's where, otherwise, if you're just buying Clousers or something like that, you could just go to Orvis and buy 30 Clousers or whatever. But I mean, they're going to swim like shit. They're going to fall apart, but it's a Clouser. It'll work. You know what I mean? Streamers, some are 60 up to 475. Yeah, well, there you go. To make $475, let's see. I would need to tie about 125 surf candies, and that's at commercial pricing. Probably more. Has anyone 3D printed flies? Well, that's the thing. You can't 3D print. It would just end up being a lure, right? If you fully 3D printed a plastic fish, you know what I mean? They make heads and stuff like that. They make attachments that you could tie onto your flies or use them. But, yeah. You could print accessories for flies and stuff, but you can't really print a whole fly, because then it would just be a lure at that point, you know? Any recommendation for where to buy bucktail? Yes. There's Brad Buzzy. If you can find him, or at the fly shows, his website's going to be coming back up in May or March or something. The other person is Hi Guys Fly Co., I believe it is. Is that who it is? Craggerall knows. Is that what it is? Hi Guys Fly Co.? Yeah. I believe that's them. It's the bucktails. Right here. These guys have phenomenal bucktails at a good price. So, like, this is going to be your, like, they got extra select for 35 or select, but I think you can get, like, these AA or something. Like, these tails will work just fine. But I've had a lot of folks tell me these guys are really, really good bucktail. So, we got to get in touch with them, too, and see what the deal is. But I know Max from Predator Prey Flies uses them. He recommends them to me, and he's like one of the guys that does all these hollow fly ties and stuff like that, you know what I mean, for a living. Or not, that's what he does when he ties private orders and all that. So this is what I've been told. These guys are really good. Hi Guys Fly Co. Is 365 good? He's based in Connecticut. I'm not certain. There's 100 different bucktail people. I don't know him personally. Me and Zeke walked around the fly fishing show. We saw a bunch of different people selling bucktails. A lot of them, almost none of them got our attention. And then we went to Brad Buzzy. I've been buying from Brad Buzzy Buzzfly, his bucktails for years, and he's fantastic. So what do you call it? He's really good, but I'm not familiar. The only way, you're gonna have to try him out, and see. To be honest with you, the best way you can do it is buy bucktail in person, but that's almost impossible a lot of times nowadays. So you can go to your local fly shop and look, but like they almost never have anything at my local fly shop that's even usable. But 365 is good. I have a bunch of their tails, and the premium ones are great. There you go. Sandman's got some experience with them. All right, we got to take a break here soon, but you guys are chatting it up like crazy, so we're just talking. I have about 50 in my bin right now, all free. Hi, guys, is Ian. They're great. 365, Lurecraft. Hi, guys, Flyco, or who you like, Sandman? Okay. Ever done a fly tying session only using materials from the craft store? Kind of, essentially, not on purpose, but yeah, that could be a cool challenge. I'll write that down. Go to like a craft store and only buy materials. Those are the materials we're only going to use. We could like look for thread and stuff too, maybe. Hobby store fly challenge. Yeah, you got to call it a challenge, right? That's like the YouTube clickbait stuff. Yeah, I got to hit the hookah lounge. It's been an hour and 30 minutes where essentially I got to call my union at this point. Almost an hour and 30 minutes, no hookah lounge break. That's literally a violation of my my rights. Everything but the hook. Yes, the hook, I'm not making my own hook. Certainly not. Certainly not making my own hook. All right, chat. We're going to let this dry. We'll glue this up here in a little bit. And I don't know. Either we'll tie another one of these. Maybe we'll tie something else. Oh, speaking of, there's Mr. Henry Cowan in the chat. Round of applause, everybody. The creator of said fly here. Why is it like... Oh, okay. It just like didn't seem like it was focusing. We got to glue this up, but... How's it going, Henry? Hope you're doing well, dude. Yeah, I think this will be my next video. The Cowan's baitfish, which we got that fluoro fiber in there. We had to. Took me a while, but I feel like I feel like I tied this sparse, and then when I got to it, I was like, there's still too much material. What do you think? Is this right? I feel like it could be slightly sparser. But I mean, we have the lead wire wrapped is like that much, 0.035. That's a good amount of lead wire, you know what I mean? It's a size 2 Gamakatsu SL12S. I'm going to have you tie mine from now on. All right. Well, now we know. Now we know he's playing games. Now we know he's joking around. All right. Well, thank you. All right, cool. I feel like I think I should tie it a little bit sparser, honestly. Just ever so slightly sparser. Because I did trim it as well. I trimmed it. But love the coyote fly. Yeah, I'll show you guys. He sent us a bunch of cool flies. And the coyote here is one of them. We are going to be covering these. It took me forever to order some, which this is essentially what we're tying right now. Yeah, see, I think I could tie it sparser. Now, mind you, this is slightly different in the way that it's tied. But this is like a Cowan's baitfish right here. But I feel like we could tie it slightly sparser. But we have a coyote right here. With a blade on it. So I'm excited to not only tie this, but also like fish it. I think we might do it when we do this in a video. What we're going to do is we're going to tie this fly, but then we're also going to go out and fish it in the springtime. Because I think it deserves more than just the tie. I think like I haven't done a video with a blade fly, so I'm excited to like try that out on the channel. And then we got the big brother here, the Cowan's Magnum. But so we'll probably tie another one, I guess, when we get back, and maybe we'll try some different colors. Yeah. I forgot exactly what it was, but yeah, by the way, this is what Henry Cowan says. By the way, sold little girl dresses for 40 years. Can't make money fly tying, frowny face. Yep. Yeah, I saw Paul Dixon, who's one of the most well-known and also one of the best fly fishing guides for straight bass on Long Island. I think, if not the. And he's one of the most famous Montauk guides of all time for fly fishing. So that tells you how good, like, he's the guy, right? But I saw Paul at the fly fishing show when we were walking around, and he's like, "Hey, you know, hey Paul, what's going on? Yeah, I get it. Yeah, cool. Do some flies or whatever, usual." And he's like, "How you doing? All right, making?" I'm like, "Yeah, not making any money, but probably at least you're doing better. You're a guide." He's like, "Pfft." He just laughed at me. So it's yeah, we do it for the love. Okay, we don't do it for the money for certain. So that being said, I guarantee you, Paul's probably making a little bit more money than I am. So I hope so, at least with that contender of his. So all right, we're gonna take a quick little break, and we're going to tie some flies. I learned about the Popovic's book that translucence is being good. Yeah, I learned from the Popovic's book, but even more so, what really sold me on that was Kenny Abrams and his Striper Moon. That really sold me on it. That like made me re-envision how striped bass picture what a baitfish, how they see baitfish, in opposed to us and how we see baitfish, and that relates to how we see our flies on the vise as opposed to how they look in the water. A striped bass may only see this fly from underneath, like this. There's a good chance it may not see it from the side profile like this. You know what I mean? If you're fishing in this, the fish are sitting in the current or something like that, you know? FYI, next Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Masters of the Fly, we will be having Dan Blanton live. Yeah, Henry, I didn't know you were involved with the Masters of the Fly guys. I know there's Dave Blinken, who's a captain. I don't know the other guy's name, but he's Mark Sadati's friend. It was Dave Blinken and the other guy. What's the other guy's name? I don't know him personally, but I know Mark Sadati knows him. But I didn't know you were involved with them. Because I saw, it was a while, I haven't watched a lot of their stuff, but I've seen Jason Taylor on there tying some hollow flies. And I think Johnny Kings maybe or someone. But I haven't seen I haven't watched a bunch, but what do you call it? I didn't know you were involved with them. Luen Chow or Chu? I'm probably butchering both of his names, but okay, yeah. Luyen Chow or Cho probably. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see you on. So are you just working with them, or are you involved in the background? I haven't seen you on like video or anything like that. Other than I think you did a Masters on the Fly, if I'm not wrong. So I didn't know you were like in the background part of it or something. So that's cool. Dan Blanton's fantastic. So for Masters on the Fly, we have to sign up, right? It's not. But do they post the VODs on YouTube? They do post the VODs on YouTube, right? So we can watch it on YouTube after. I think it's you sign up, it's free. You can watch it live though. It's like a live stream, by the way. So if you guys are interested, you're just supporting them and helping out. Okay, gotcha. You'll be hosting. Oh, you're going to be hosting for the Blanton interview. Okay. Last episode, yeah, I know Nelson was on the last episode, which David Nelson's from Squimpish Flies. He's one of my favorite guys in the world when it comes to the fishing industry. So okay. We're going to take a quick little break, chat. All right, I've been saying it for half an hour. I'm going to grab a White Claw, and when we get back, we're going to be tying some more Cowan's baitfish, all right? So let's play the Albie highlight, and I'll be back in just a moment. We'll see you, chat. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Stay tight, all right? Yeah, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the valve.
Yeah, get on the valve. All right, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, close next to your alley. Good job.
That's sick.
All right. Nice.
Let's go! Albie slap!
Good job, kid.
Yee yee!
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little toonie, bro. On the alligator too. Here, take my toonie like that. Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. Yep. Oh my god! I gotta turn the boat so I can cast. All right, and we're back. What's going on, Adam? How's it going? All right. Let's put some liquid fusion on here. You have to let the E6000 dry for a bit. It's pretty important you let the E6000 dry for a while. Let's also get some little tunes going. Shall we? Save the good stuff for later. There you go. All right. Yeah, we're gonna tie up another one of these Callan's baitfish here in a sec. We'll just put some liquid fusion on this one. I've become such a fan. I pretty much don't put 3D eyes on a fly without putting liquid fusion on top of it. E6000 underneath, liquid fusion on top is like my new go-to, and it seemed to increase the durability of 3D eyes like tenfold. And I stole this from Johnny Canes, so shout out to Johnny Canes. I was like, what's the perfect application of liquid fusion? There has to be a perfect application for it. I've tried to use it in fly tying for years as like a replacement to epoxy and all sorts of stuff for like surf candies. But really it's for coating eyes on heads. And you can see I'm specifically trying not to get it on the material. I'm just getting it where the base of the material meets the eye, or the base of the eye meets the material, I should say. And it thins out very good because it's water based or whatever. So it thins out super thin, so you don't even know it's there when it's done, or when it dries. And it just stops the eyes from falling off after catching fish, which was a big problem we had with squimpish hollows, stuff like that, kinky muddlers in general, or any sort of application with 3D eyes like this. I had a issue with customers saying, you know, after fishing them a ton, the eyes fall off. Well, yeah, it's going to happen, but how can we prolong that from happening? And it seems like the liquid fusion really helps with that after talking to people, and I started doing this. So you can take little tips and tricks from different fly tyers and different flies you like and mix them together. So it's just something I do on like all 3D eyes nowadays, essentially. It looks pretty good. Let's tie another one. Again, this is size 2/0. I think I'm going to try sparser. I'm going to try and use less material this time. We're going to cut the material shorter size. What's going on, Rockfish Buster? How's it going? Oh yeah, what are you going to be tying on Masters, Henry? Well, I guess it could be a secret for all we know. It could be a secret. Maybe he doesn't want to say. Maybe you're going to have to tune into Masters on the Fly when Henry is going on. I'll have to sign up for that one and watch it live. I usually watch them after the fact, because I also think they might have been on a, like, one of the recent ones was on a night I was streaming on my other channel, Mike Rolls Dice or something. The bunker short, life's not good right now. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Hopefully things get better. Bunker wise or elsewise. Alright. Again, I don't have polar fiber, so I'm using the Rainey's Craft Fur, which is very similar. Rainey's Craft Fur is like the best craft fur out there. It's like the highest quality in my opinion. But I do want to get some polar fiber. I just haven't tied with that in, I couldn't even tell you how many years. Oh, well, Henry's here, so we should ask, do you do your lead keel first? You do the lead keel first, right? Cover in body braid and then you tie everything? Because I started my craft fur tie like behind the wire. I'm thinking I should maybe start it on the wire. I don't know. Yeah, it worked out on the last one. It's always kind of tricky getting the wire wrapped on there started. I like having it kind of angled off, and then I can, because you always don't want it to wrap on that initial piece and then have a bump. So you kind of want it like angled off, and then you can just wrap straight. It's kind of tricky. I kind of like starting it like this. Then I can push it together. Because I hate having that bump underneath. I like having a nice smooth transition on it. No, he uses resin, or no, he uses Softex for the spine in the middle. Because I talked to him about it. I'm using liquid fusion because I don't have Softex, but it's on the polar fiber section, if I'm not wrong. But I could be wrong. We'll see. We have the master here himself. I think on the Magnum baitfish, because there's no polar fiber, it's just craftware. It's on that back section as well. I don't think it's... Even though he starts kind of further up forward on the Magnum baitfish as opposed to this one, if you look at it. The Magnum baitfish kind of starts up here, and it's just a certain amount of ties. If I'm not wrong, I have it. Just FYI, Liquid Fusion was founded and developed by Fly Tire Kevin Arculo. He showed Johnny, really? Because Liquid Fusion was sold in the yellow bottle. I saw this stuff for years at Michael's. You're telling me this was developed by a Fly Tire? Or did he just find it for... Did he just find it for fly tying? Or did he create it? Because this is the old version. This is the new version. Yeah, I talked from Bill from Easy Body. He knows the guys from Softex or whatever. And I guess because I mentioned how David Skoke was like, I'm never tying with Softex again. This is what Saltwater Flies, Chris Windrum told me. Because with the mushmouths, David Skoke was tying the mushmouths commercially. For, good price, too, because he was the creator of the fly. But he was had that bottle of Softex opened all day, and he's getting exposed to it. But talking to Bill, he's like, yeah, well, of course, you gotta close the bottle or something. The guy was sitting there open with the bottle all day. But I'm still in the kind of the camp with David Skoke where I'm like, I used to use that stuff. And like, I'll never forget, me and my buddy knocked the bottle of Softex over and spilled it in his room. We gotta do the body braid. Dude, that smell of that was like a chemical waste spill. Oh, you found it. Okay. I was gonna say, I thought that maybe it was developed for by a fly tire. Yeah, I used this stuff years ago when I was a kid, back in like the 2000s or whatever, because we went to a Michael's and it was a glue, but I never found a good use for it. So I'm glad that someone far smarter than me did. Because I tried this stuff years and years and years ago, and nobody was tying with it. But I was like, I'm sure you could do something with it. This is, back whenever, I don't know, when I was like a little kid. You wonder if your blood cancer was caused by it? Well, look, I tell you what, after tying with that stuff, I was like, I'm good, Yeah, no... It's got VOC in it, I think, or something like that. It's got some sort of one of the things that California really hates, if I'm not wrong. They say everything causes cancer in California, but that's one of the things that they really don't like or whatever. It's got some sort of like, I could be wrong. Maybe it isn't VOC or whatever. I don't know. It's just got the fumes from Softex are like hardcore compared to other stuff. I remember tying with it as a kid, spilling it on my pants and stuff like that. I had so much stuff I used to tie with it. But after talking to different people, apparently David Skoke used to use it a lot, and then he was like, yeah, I'm never using that stuff again. I'm good. Again, I don't want to badmouth Softex. I think it has its place. But if you're tying, especially commercially, and you're using it a lot, you might want to look for alternatives or something. As somebody who used to be a mechanic and we used to get exposed to constant crap, whether it would be some bozo doing fuel injection cleaning and not pulling the car out, which, by the way, those things are always crap. But like BG, this company's chemical cleaning company, used to like get us to try and sell fuel injection cleaning kits, and they would clean out the fuel injectors. Some moron would like not pull the car out. Then yeah, I don't know if it actually has VOC, that's just what I'm remembering from like automotive stuff or something. Volatile organic compounds, not good in water or whatever. But I've been exposed to so much stuff like cleaning with mineral spirits and a parts cleaning tank. Just so much crap. I try to limit my exposure to stuff in general. Even super glue. I use a lot of super glue. My buddy, Rev, he gets like an allergic reaction to super glue essentially. Toluene. Our cool is a Rainey's fly tire. He's been using it for 15 years. Very cool. I'm not familiar with them. I'll have to check them out. There's a lot of fly tires I still don't know. The moral of the story is open up a window when you're tying with a lot of stuff. Like, I'm curious what's going to be the effect. You know, this resin, this doesn't smell that bad, but this one, like, you can... Like, if I cure this resin, you'll see vapors coming off of it. It has a particular smell. You know what I mean? So, I'm like, what do you call it? I'm wondering if, like, 10 years from now, am I going to be, like, having side effects from this? You know what I mean? I think about that from time to time. Because I do a lot of resin tying. So, during the winter, I don't want to open up the window or whatever, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, you had bone marrow transplant and cancer-free. Round of applause, first off, everybody. Put some good vibes. Or, well, I mean, you're cancer-free, but let's, you know, let's be thankful for that. Put some 07s in the chat. I make soft plastics. I have a big exhaust outside to pull fumes. Yeah, that's super important. I know people have poor jig heads and stuff. I was going to get into that. I did that once outside. I was like, there's no way I'm doing this, bro. Pouring lead and whatnot. No, thank you. Even just touching that lead wire, I should go wash my hands, to be honest with you. I am going to go wash my hands. Now that we're talking about it. I'm going to go wash my hands real quick. The main thing is you don't touch your mouth, or I don't go roll a cigarette or whatever, but don't touch plastic. Oh, god damn it. I failed already. I just dried my hand with a plastic towel. Yeah, right? And the food's wrapped in it. Well, that's the issue. There's so much crap that's trying to kill us nowadays. So the main thing is the least exposure you can get, the important is important. So I'm believe me, I hate processed foods in general. Plastisol is essentially PVC. I'm not familiar with Plastisol. Long Island fly tire John Haig died years ago from blood cancer, and he used to make and distribute devil sauce. Bad stuff, wear a mask. Oh, I'm not familiar with that. Okay. Is that another tying glue or something? Yeah. So that being said, I think this is a great alternative to Softex, in my opinion. Liquid Fusion. Like, just as we used it, it does a great job at making a spine or something in particular. Every time you watch Kelly Gallup put materials into his mouth to soften it or moisten it, you cringe a little bit. Like, just even this, dude. You know how much, like, underfur I'm breathing in? Like, tying and stuff like that? How much material's floating around in my room? I vacuum, like, every day. But, anyways. All right. Let's, now that we were all officially freaked out about all of our fly tying material that is trying to murder us, let's continue tying. Now that I'm convinced all of my fly tying material is slowly killing me, and all of my food, nothing's safe. Damn it! Jungle Cock, and 3 whip finishes. Yep, there you go. What's up, my fellow fly tying nerds? What's up? What's going on, Aquarium? How you doing? Yeah, now that I'm convinced everything that on my desk is slowly killing me, let's continue tying, shall we? So even sparser this time. You hear me, chat? Even sparser. Watch, we're going to end up, it's going to be like the exact same amount of material. And I'm trying to make it even sparser. I was going to get a new bodkin. Bobbin. I was looking at right mag or the ceramic. Which do you prefer? I believe this is ceramic, or is this the mag? I forgot. I'll measure the size for you. But the larger the better. If you're tying saltwater, the larger the better. This might just be the standard version. This is 2.5 inches long from the ceramic tip to where it meets there. I guess total length 4.5 inches. But the bigger the better, because when you're tying saltwater flies, you want the length. So this, I'm sure they make an even larger version. First off, when's Right Bobbin gonna hit me up? Right, hit me up. Send me 30 bobbins. Okay, I don't need them, but I'll take 2. We've definitely had many people buy Right bobbins over the years, and I'm just happy about that in general. I'll keep mentioning this. I was tying for Saltwater Edge. You have the ceramic mag? Okay, gotcha. If you say so, I'll trust you. I have no idea. Don't ask me. You'd think I literally tie flies for a living and have a YouTube channel. I was tying at the Saltwater Edge booth, and one of the people from Right walked by and like saw that something wasn't right. I don't remember what. Either I had to glue this back in. I dropped it on a concrete floor, or this was swinging around. This happens because it just happens. It loosens up over time. I think I dropped it many times. I don't mind it now. It kind of moves, and I'm kind of used to it. So we're going to get the LI Flies Mike signature model that has an adjustable swivel to it. Hit me up, Right? That's multi-million-dollar idea right there, first off. You know what I mean? But the dude from Right walked by. I don't even know how he saw this. I was tying, and my bobbin was moving in my hand. He saw that something wasn't right, and he was like, hold on. I'm going to fix that for you. And he, like, brought me a new one to use, and then went back, fixed my bobbin for me. I don't know how the dude even saw that anything was wrong, but he did somehow. And completely fixed it for me. So ever since then, I've always told people to get Right bobbins. And even if someone's had an issue, every single person that's watched the stream has told me they reached out to Right bobbin and they just sent them a new one or fixed it right away. So that's the sort of product I can get behind as somebody who has a YouTube channel or that streams, and you guys ask me what sort of stuff to use. That's the sort of people that I won't like say, yeah, use this, use that. It's only people that are like, okay, we know for a fact they're good. You know what I mean? All right. Like stuff that's been used for 20, 30 years is what I recommend. Fly Tight Cement Non-Toxic. I'm not familiar with it. Chat, I'm going to let you vote again, or just say it in the chat. What sort of colors? We did fluorescent yellow. This time we're going to try something different. We have blue, olive, pink, and chartreuse, and tan. What are we using here? Steel lip is... Do you prefer the steel tip or I've been using ceramic forever. I haven't used the steel tip bobbin since, like, the 90s. But I couldn't tell you which one's better. I've just been using ceramic forever. I'll still break threads. I don't think it has to do with the tip. Or at least the ceramic, I feel like you're maybe less likely to break as opposed to steel. But when I break the thread, it's because I just put too much pressure on there, because I'm obsessed with having my thread be as tight as possible. Especially with the Danville Flat Wax 210 denier. It literally cinches into the wax thread when I wrap it really tight. My flies are super durable because of it. They're flies that I have from like 20 years ago that are just because I just always, my whole thing is I always wrap just to the point of breaking the thread. So when I switch to a new thread, you'll see me break it a lot. Like if I switch to mono and I've been tying with 210 denier all day, I'll break the thread like 3 or 4 times because I'm trying to get that. It's like using a, God, I haven't been a mechanic for years now. But what's the name of that thing? A torque wrench. It's like using a torque wrench. You know what I mean? And you're like trying to, what is 8 pounds to your hand? Over time you learn it or something. Blue over white? Thank you, Jim. I was waiting for a recommendation. Blue over white it is. I think we're going to add some pink. Now hear me out. Hear me out. I think we're going to go with a couple white. We're going to keep it mostly white for the first couple ties. Then we'll incorporate the blue. Maybe a pink along the back. Because we could just go blue on top, but I'm kind of a firm believer with imitating peanut bunker, imitating herring. If you look at them a lot of times, they're like majority silver, and then they have the color riding along the back. Yeah, so I think that's how we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. Cut down the length. Steelies love the blue, pink, white. I think blue, pink, white just works for everything. It's just a good generic baitfish color, whether it's freaking trout or whether it's striped bass or whether you go fishing for some reef fish somewhere. I think it's just a classic color combination that will just work anywhere. Not always, but it's one of those color combinations that I think is like solidified in the history books. You know what I mean? You got your chartreuse in like pink and white or whatever sort of colors. And this is not even just for fly tying. This is for like lures in general, you know? Or like spoons, whatever. I think a blue, pink, and white sort of color, you know, and that's primarily due to like herring and those sort of bait fish. It's where that sort of color shines, but there's many sorts of kind of silvery bait fish with that bluish hinge. Even bunker look like that. Bunker look more blue than they look olive when they're sitting on the boat, on the deck of a bunker boat. I'll tell you that much. It's amazing how much when a bunker is out of the water, dried up, how blue it is. It has a lot of olive, but it's really blue. It's really crazy. Because I've shoveled a lot of bunker off the floor of a 24-foot Carolina skiff. And when they're dried up in August or in June, and it's like 90 degrees or something, we got to get them in ice. They get super blue, bunker in particular. It's really interesting. In the water, though, they look completely different than they do out of the water. So that's like, in the water is where you really need to think about what your fly is going to look like, because that's the true test. In reality, what it looks like in the vise and what it looks like in your fly box is kind of only important to us. So I always get this, where I get this bump because we have it's just naturally due to the way that there's this gap kind of here, if you will. But when I end up like gluing the eyes, it all kind of ties together nicely. But that is just from, I guess, the way it is, the way I was tying it. Maybe I could have had the craft fur be further back. Yo! Aquarium.
Lover channel, I look forward to hopping on Friday night.
Hey, thank you so much. Looking Glass Aquarium. Round of applause, chat. Get some Albie emotes in the chat if you're a member. If not, put an 07 in the chat. You could just type 07. That's a classic, like, salute. Imagine, like, a military salute. It's a streamer thing. Or stream thing. But thank you, Aquarium. Appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. And I'm glad you enjoy the live streams. We've been doing them for a while. Thank God we started multi-streaming on YouTube, because we just have even more people now to keep me company while I ramble for hours on end. It's the real hallmark of a Li Flies Mike stream. The ramblings of a madman. Yeah, there we go. All right. So we are going to now taper the length. I'm going to be much more responsible with shortening the length of the hair. And I think these two ties we can go pretty long. After this, we're going to really start significantly shortening it down. By the way, the off-white works great. I'm loving the off-white. Well, let's go back. Let's check Henry's website. What's 07? It's a salute. So there's the O is the dude, and the 7 is his arm. You're doing zero, so you don't want to do capital. You want to do lowercase. See, Dave in the Wild knows what's up. Dave in the Wild knows what's up. It's lowercase 7. Because you got the dude, and then his hand is angled up, and he's doing a salute. It's like emotes before emotes were on the platforms. People were doing that sort of thing. All right. Your name's Charlie? I'll try and remember that. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. Very, very kind to you, my friend. Very kind. Again, round of applause. Again, round of applause. Now, we should go pretty short here. I think we go even shorter. We're going even shorter. I kept it too long on the last one. Lengthwise. So we're going to taper this sucker down then. We can just take this, I think, and just cut it straight in half, and that should be fine. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, dude. Very, very kind. It'll help. I have some folks asking for different fly patterns. I had some folks asking for some of Skoke's flies. He's got like that old pheasant flounder or something and stuff. So I was looking. There's some different flies that we want to cover on the channel. I'll probably need to order some materials for. So that's what I use stuff like that for. Get some pheasant feathers or something for, you know, a certain fly that we might cover on the channel. All right, we're gonna shorten this significantly. I should probably save that. And let's go ahead and tie some on. All right, also, let's get some tunes, Jerry. All right. We're going shorter this time than the last. And I'm keeping my ties pretty tight. I'd say there's probably a couple, you know, it's probably like, if I had to guess, like 3-4 millimeters gap in between the last tie. I don't know. If I had to give it a number, I suppose. Again, I'm gonna keep it sparse. Sparser than the last. It's I'm telling you, dude, I don't know what happened to where in my mind maybe I've just been tying so long and I just dressed flies a certain way, but I have to control myself to not overdress flies nowadays. After like seeing one of Henry flies in person, I'm like, I gotta keep it sparse. Gotta keep it sparse. And it's in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is sparse, but in reality, it's not. It's like just a little too much. So it's like a mental game, for me at least, trying to find the right amount of material. And I've been doing this for how many? I couldn't even tell you. And still, every once in a while, I'm still like, I think I should have made that sparser. Now, it's different when I'm tying commercially because I kind of get into the groove, and when you're tying the same fly and you're doing like hundreds, you end up like becoming like a machine to where you just like bang them out. But yeah, it's a little it's tricky when you're going from fly to fly in different sizes and all that, you know what I mean? I made a few flies this week, added weighted skull heads. Think a spinner will cast them if you make them heavy enough. Yeah, I've tied some like bucktail flies with lead wire and stuff and thrown them on ultralight rods before in the past. The tricky part is getting enough weight to actually, you're gonna need a light enough rod to actually throw it, right? But if you got an ultralight, I think you'll be good because you're essentially tying a mini jig at some point. You know what I mean? There is a point to where you're essentially just tying a mini jig or a jig fly at this point when you're adding like gigantic dumbbell eyes or like the cone heads or some of the Popovic's jig heads I've used in the past. They're literally like you could throw that on a panfish rod, and you could throw it pretty far, like no problem. Like if that thing hits your rod hits your rod, it's gonna break when you're casting one of these days, and you're gonna wonder why your fly rod broke. You do gotta be careful with tying super heavy flies, because I've experimented with like heavy flies for fishing off boats and stuff, this and that, but it's tough. But if you're doing it for that purpose, then amen. Go for it. Are those high-lows or V-ties? These are V-ties in particular because I'm folding them back in a V shape. But so a high-low tie would be just tying the material on top and then tying the material on bottom. And a high tie is just tying the material on top. Now, if you double over the material, you could just say you double over it. You could take it and fold it completely back evenly. That's what I would say double overing. 60-40 is when you have like 60% of the material, what do you call it, coming off the back, or what do you call it? Yeah, 60 off the back, 40 in the front, or vice versa. You know, you can adjust it. But a high-low is just tying the material. I mean, at least that's how I've always considered it. We're doing a V-tie where we're folding it back into a V shape, essentially. Now I think we should add some color. We'll stick to that. Have I ever tried a casting egg? No, casting eggs are perfect for what you're looking to do, aquarium, by the way. That's what you should get, is a casting egg. I've used them for albies a couple times. My buddies who only spin fish, I used to take a couple of my friends for albie fishing from the rocks, but they only spin fished. And what I would do is I'd tie them flies. They'd use casting eggs, and they would just be, the amount of fish they were catching was crazy. So casting eggs are fantastic if you want to fish flies with a spinning rod. And they make sinking ones, and they make floating ones, and they make ones that like are in the middle, you know. Whoa, Brundle Flies becoming a Coffee Fund tier member. Round of applause, chat. Get some Albie emotes. If you're a member now, you got your Albie emote. If not, then an 07. Appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. And enjoy your early access. We usually try to put the videos up, like, I try to put them either a day, sometimes like half a day. But I'm going to try and work on getting them maybe a little bit up earlier. But it's a way of you folks supporting the channel here, and I appreciate it. So you get some emotes, you get your cool member badge, you get a little early access to some videos. So thank you, my friends. It's very kind of you. We're going to add some pink here on top, and we're going to go for some white on the belly, and then we'll start switching over to blue. I think keeping it sparse, sure. Do a little trimmage. Move forward a couple millimeters. Could probably take, see, even this is a little too much. Let's take some out. Throw some pink up top. There is an actual salute emote on YouTube as well. There is an actual salute emote. That is true. I forgot about that. If you feel like going down and looking for it, you can. It's called a casting egg. Yep, 100%. Let's Google it. Break out the Google. So, you see? It's a either wooden, plastic, whatever. The wooden ones usually float. See, Saltwater Edge has them. There's some different folks who make them. Al Gags, I've seen this one a lot. And essentially what you do is you just take this and whip this out there. This has like, 2 to 3 foot of fluorocarbon or mono off the back. You tie a fly to it. This is, or whatever side is tied to your leader material. And you can see, you can essentially fish this is a terrible resolution, but you have your casting egg, and then you have a jig, or you have a fly, and you can fish it with a spinning rod, because all the weight is on the casting egg, and the fly is weightless. So you can see here somebody's fishing with a super thin flatwing, for instance, right? Like a roadie flatwing sort of fly, and they're using the casting egg to get it out there. So if you're looking to use your flies with a spinning rod, that's the way to do it. And they sell some different brands, some different versions. You know what I mean? Because they put the fly hook there, and then you cast it and it falls off or something. I don't know. And then there's the Al Gags one. So 2 to 8 foot of fluorocarbon. There you go. Boom. Yeah. People use them up here for albie fishing because the flies are so effective compared to other lures. Nowadays, though, they do have like the Hoagie epoxy jigs and all that stuff that people use. But flies are still, majority of the times, more effective than a lot of stuff up here still. So it gives spin fishers a chance to fish with a fly. Some would call that cheating and say, "Get a job, asshole." When I was working with this kid clamming, I told him, like, that's something I used to, like, if somebody would get super pissed off, like road rage here in New York, and be like, "Oh, F you." I'd be like, "Get a job, asshole." And clearly, like, I'm going fishing. I'm not working. I'm tying flies for a living. Like, middle of the day, I'm going fishing. And this dude's clearly working in a work truck. Meanwhile, you say, "Go get a job," or something. Yeah. I don't know. I just had to throw that in because I used to work with this younger kid, AC fishing, clamming, and we would always say it as we were going by to, like, people in boats. Stuff like that. We'd be, like, going fishing. "Get a job, asshole." People get wild out here on Long Island with the cars. It's not as crazy as New York City, but, you know. You got to have your quips, your one-liners. But it only works for people that are clearly, like, on the job and working. You have to say it to people that are, like, in a work truck or something. Also, a diamond jig in place of an egg. Yeah, let's say you can fish a diamond jig if you're especially fishing in deeper water. 100%. You can also just take the hooks off a popper and use that. Of course, you could totally do that. You could totally just do that. There's somewhat of it because the casting eggs they're a little bit more streamlined, so they'll, like, get out there a little bit more, and they're also retrieve a little different. But I've used poppers in the past many, many times. When I've had somebody on the boat that only spin fishes, and let's say we're fishing and the fish are really eating flies, I'll take the hooks off the popper, tie a piece of leader off the back, and then, like, you know, the Chuggets that were Power Pro, or what company made the Chugget poppers? But those in particular I've used the Spook lure, which is like a walk the dog style lure. I've done that with them a lot. Or I'll take the hook off the rear and put a fly in there. That's more so like I do that as like an emergency when somebody's with me and the fish are feeding on something in particular and they don't have a lure that could kind of imitate that thing. More so. We'll do one more pink and then we'll add some blue. All right, we got to go shorter, dude. We got to go shorter. I'm going to still have to end up trimming this thing. This is the sort of fly, if I was tying a bunch of these, I would have to, or even in general, I think, kind of pull the material aside and get your length of materials kind of cut ahead of time. You can do to ensure, I guess if you are tying, like, let's say you're trying to tie a dozen before you go fishing. That way you can get, it's a little bit easier. Because I'm always like, damn, dude, I feel like I should tie that a little shorter, save myself a little material there. Let's pull a little out of the belly. We don't need that much. Wrap this down. I guess, yeah, that works. Worried about my thread slipping a little, but I guess we have enough of a shelf to wrap this down here, if you will. Enough room. I also think I should be... I've been keeping it at the very top and bottom. I should have a little bit more spread on the sides a little bit to help cover up the body braid, I guess, but it's all right. This time we're definitely keeping it sparser, which is important, I think. Yeah, I will say I think the casting eggs are a little bit... If you are going to specifically do that, I think it's okay to get a casting egg. I think they're only like 10, 15 bucks probably or something. 20 bucks maybe at most. But it's very streamlined, so you can like really whip that sucker out there compared to if you were just using like a popper or something. The jigs work too, but then it's like it depends. Like you want certain they have certain ones that are kind of like subsurface and some are surface. You know, the jig's gonna get you down. Like you're gonna have to keep stripping that thing or reeling it pretty quick. Otherwise, you might, if you're on the North Shore fishing from shore on the rocks, which we used to, you're gonna be snagging stuff a lot. So I think the jig's good on sandy beaches, inlets, stuff like that when the fish aren't up on the surface. Unless, even up on the surface, people do love reeling in those algae lures at 1,500 miles an hour, so you'll probably still catch them. But it's good to have a variety of different things, and it's not a bad idea having an actual casting egg, and maybe like a jig setup if you always want, if you're fishing down deep, let's say. So I think I can even cut this material in half like this. Again, we can go fairly short here. And nice and sparse as well. It's pretty important. Again, let me just... I'm just every once in a while tapering it and then just cutting it. I'm just checking like the size. Yeah, it's still a little long, dude. Quite long, in fact. So I'll do this. I think this is, after this tie, we're going to do our fluorofiber, by the way. Now we're going to start adding blue as well. How are we lined up on the vertical stream? We all right? Yeah, it looks all right. Add some blue here. And if you folks got anything you want to share in the Discord, we'll take a look at the Discord before the end of the night here. So there is one downside to having the two colors, is that if you do wait till the end, the hair will be quite short, so you're not going to get that effect going quite far back. So that is something to keep in mind. I guess you could always just start off with two pink and then do the blue. But I like the white. And I don't mind if the blue is mostly near up on this back here, this ridge. You know what I mean? But that is something to keep in mind where you're starting your colors on these. Because I'm sure not all the time. I'm sure Henry's done some various colors. But no, like on the website, that was just a two-tone fly. And it makes it much simpler. You don't have to worry about... Because if I just took this blue and tied it, you know, right near the end in particular, you'll see when we go for the final shape of the fly, it'll be quite short, so it's not going to have the effect we're looking for. I think we get a couple more ties here. Keep it nice and sparse. Yeah, I think we'll do one more, then the fluoro, and then the final tie. I think I've done an effective job of keeping it sparse for the most part. Might need to do a little trimming. It's looking fairly good otherwise. Ooh, and I had a little food before I started the stream, but I always get hungry by the time I'm done streaming, so I'm getting that point to where I could start to feel it. I'm like, have some pasta or something. Yep, thank you, Frosty. I got to get it set up for YouTube, my Nightbot commands for YouTube. Anyone know anyone that wants a road trip? Cape Lookout Fly Fishers will host a tying clinic February 28th. Location Morehead City, North Carolina. Public's welcome. Welcome. All right. Very cool, Jim. I gotta say, I do like me some saltwater fishing in North Carolina, and I've been, I think, near near Morehead City. We went to Wilmington. We stayed at a hotel somewhere. And there was one beach and an inlet we fished over there. There was also like I want to say there was an aquarium that was like maybe 20 minutes away. But I think we went to Morehead City, if I'm not wrong. I forgot. But I remember there was like an aquarium over there in North Carolina. This is with one of my ex-girlfriend. She lived down there because there's a bunch of Long Islanders living in Cary, North Carolina, near what's the name of it, Raleigh. And I was like, first of all, I can't live near inland, so if I did move down here, we'd have to live near the ocean or near the water. So we went and visited Wilmington and checked out that area. But I don't remember the exacts. But Morehead City sounds super familiar, but I might be completely wrong. This might be in a different area. You know, it very much so reminded me of Long Island, driving down like the beach roads on the like where the dunes are and stuff. Really reminded me of driving down where I live on Long Island. But once you kind of went away from the beaches, it totally just was North Carolina. It just had a completely different vibe and feel. It was wild. I was a mechanic at the time. There was no way I was moving to North Carolina. They were going to pay me like freaking $8 an hour. Meanwhile, I was like making like $25 an hour in New York or something for the same work or something. What the hell is this? No air conditioning, nothing. Gets hot down there in the summertime. I tell you what, boy. Same thing with Florida. She ended up going to Florida and was going to have me go to Florida. I said, hell no, I ain't going to Florida. How the hell am I going to be a mechanic in Florida? I'm going to die. Being a New Yorker. I went and visited. It wasn't even summertime. It was like 100 degrees or like 100% humidity, like 85, 90 degrees. I'm like, hell no. I got to stay up north. I'm cold-blooded. I would go to Morehead. I'll be in Topsail in July. Well, there you go. What flies are you using in the inlets and outlets in the Peconic during the springtime? Free Dairy, what's up? Specific colors. So I would say colors are less important, Dairy, and it's more so the flies. And what you're going to be focusing on is spearing and peanut bunker sort of style imitations. If you're trying to match the hatch in particular, if you will, for the actual baits, the inlets and outlets leading into Peconic. Are you talking about the canal in particular? But in general for the Peconic, just basic, clousers, deceivers. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't fish a lot of like what people would traditionally fish in the spring. I'll fish slightly larger flies, what I call searching flies, whether that's squimpish hollows, even something like this, a Magnum baitfish style fly, or a Cowan's baitfish, or like a hollow flies. I'll fish like 5 to 6 inch flies, usually in blue, pink, and white, herring color, or I'll go for like a bunker color. But again, the colors don't matter as much. Sabonic inlet. Yeah, so you're gonna have to mix it up. But honestly, like I said, I've fished those areas before too. I think you're gonna want like jiggies and clousers, especially with the flows there, to get down deep. You want to get down deeper. You also have the chance at like weak fish at places like that. So like pink and white is a really good color. Like pink and white's one of my favorite springtime colors. But again, like a blue, pink, and white, like what we're tying right now. Flies wise, have a variety of flies. You want everything from larger flies, like I said, 5, 6, 7 inches, like almost like miniature bunker flies, down to, and this could be squimpish hollows, this could be hollow flies, Sadati slammer, bucktail deceiver flies. You want stuff with hackle in it that breathes and moves, all the way down to your classic lefties deceivers, jiggies, clousers. Let's see, what else would I use a lot? I mean, there's many different types of flies, but to be honest with you, like, those will cover the majority of it. If you guys, people have watched my stream for a long time, the majority of the time what I fished every spring is about 5.5 inch bucktail deceiver style flies, or hollow flies like squimpish hollows. And again, color doesn't really matter. We'll tie them in every single color there is. It's more so how you present the fly. So you're going to have to mix up your retrieves, you know what I mean? And you're going to have to go at different times to see potentially if there's fish moving through there or set up in the tide and the current and all that. But like I said, you want some sinking flies, some smaller sinking flies probably, pink and white, chartreuse and white, maybe olive and white. And if you want, you also want some larger, what I call attractor flies, searching flies, almost like a lure. That's like 5, 6 inches, blue, pink and white, olive and white, chartreuse and white, pink and white, all black, blue, purple and black. So use darker colors when it's cloudy and dark, and use lighter colors when it's sunny. Your wife's impressed, Henry Cowens in the chat. That's all thanks to Zeke. That has nothing to do with me, by the way. So Zeke's the cool guy. Cool guy from the city. All right. I'm gonna cut this here. Yeah, you do anything long enough, you know, you'll get okay at it. And that's how I ended up here. We got to add our fluorofiber. Yes, we do. Of course. Where are you, my precious? Yeah, check out the video, spring fly fishing for striped bass, free dairy. If you're !YT in Twitch for my YouTube channel, we have like I forget how long it is. Is it like 30 minutes long? It's a video on spring striper fishing that literally covers every aspect of spring striper fishing there is. And this is primarily with me thinking about Long Island, but I just did it in general. But it's like very relevant to you because I'm very close to where you're talking about. And what do you call it? The philosophy of the first episode of our striped bass series, because the whole idea is like colors don't matter as much, you know. It's more so like how you present the fly. That's the number one important thing. Not even what fly you're using. It's if you're not putting the fly in the right area in the right way that looks natural, the fish won't eat it. The next step is the profile. The profile is the next most important thing. Does it look like what they're eating? Like same length, general shape, and outline. Doesn't matter if it's the same color or whatever, okay? Then you can start getting into the general overall, like, colors, whether it's dark or light, and yada, yada, yada. But really, if you're not putting the fly in the right area and fishing it in a way that looks natural, they're not going to eat it. That's the most important thing. And then if the profile, the overall shape and profile, if you squint your eyes and it doesn't look like it, forget the color and everything, because it could be light, it could be dark, it could be all that, right? Forget all that. The main thing is the overall profile. That's what's important. So, do I agree with Trump's government? Adrian, let me tell you something. And this is the stance that we have in our stream. We do not talk about politics. We do not cover it. And there's many reasons why. Because your entire daily life is covered in politics, right? All your social media feeds, the internet, Your TV is nothing nowadays. Everything is about politics and about everyone hating each other. So the thing that we don't do in our stream, and many other streamers don't do this, is talk about their politics, because everybody here probably has different views about politics and about government and this and that. And the last people come and watch streams or watch YouTube and stuff like that to get away from this crap. So we just don't talk about it personally. And you know what I mean? Everyone can have their own personal views and opinions and stuff, but this isn't the place to talk about it. So, but yeah, the government's bad in general. So how about that? Is that a good answer? You're probably not happy with my answer, but that's the answer I'm going to give you, and that's all we're going to talk about that. It's one thing if somebody's like a political orientated stream or something, you know, but we are not. We're a fishing stream. If you guys want to talk about fishing legislation in particular, but we're not going to talk about general politics or anything like that. Thank you for understanding. I'm glad you understand. I know I wish we could talk about politics, but it's not like the 1990s where you could have a civil. I mean, back then people still hated each other, but nowadays, dude, it's like people can't even have a civil conversation anymore. Anybody, it's crazy. I mean, you can, but you know what I'm talking about. It sucks. I like politics too. Not anymore, but I used to be way more into it when I was younger. The older you get, the less, in general, the more you see the world for just being a giant sham, the older you get. This is all. But let's leave it at that. Let's nobody, because all of a sudden people will start. It's a good way to rile up the chat. But thank you for understanding. Yeah, the older I get, the more I hate everything. Like, what? What's going on? Get off my lawn, you kids. I used to go drifting and stuff. Now people are driving like loud cars past my house. I'm like looking out my window like an old lady. Meanwhile, there's a S14 sitting in my driveway. Who the hell's hooning up my freaking block? I'm too old for this. No hoons allowed. The hooligans hooning it up. It's one of my favorite Australian terms, the hoons. They're like the kids in cars doing burnouts. They're like, these hoonigans. Anti-hooning laws in Australia to prevent. It's all for like kids doing burnouts in their V8. It's like, like drifting. They came up with a term hooning, and they have anti-hooning laws in Australia, and it's all for like for dumbasses like us. Like we used to go and like go to the beach parking lot and go drifting and stuff like that, and the cops would show up and be like, "God damn it, we told you kids to cut it out." It's one of my favorite words. Or favorite words of all time, like ever in any language. Hoons. So good. Because you listen to it, they're so serious. The radio and the news, or like, there'll be some like woman that's like a news reporter, and she's like, look how dangerous. They're like doing donuts in a parking lot. These hoons are out of control. Like, they're like so serious about it. Like, all right, we got to add a little bit more before we fold it back. We're like playing on very limited space here to actually tie this. Kind of put myself in a hard spot here, but I gotta get the tunes going. Yeah, legalize drifting. Woo! I wish I could go drifting. Cars are too expensive nowadays. I have a boat that I can't even afford. I'm definitely not affording a car. A motor sport where you burn through tires every 3 seconds. It helped when I was a mechanic because I would get used tires and I would save the tires that were the exact size that I was using. Or close enough that you could put them on the same rim. That saved me so much money. Saving like junk tires that I could do a couple laps in. And they had a tire machine at the drift track. So I could change my tires as well. That was sick. That was pretty awesome. But No more, unfortunately. It's too expensive. And the car rusted out, unfortunately, thanks to New York salt on the roads. The car is absolutely destroyed, and never fixing that thing. I would need like a freaking automotive body shop, and like have to rebuild. It's a unibody car essentially too. It's like all one piece, so it's not like you can swap out a frame on that sucker. Maybe one day I'll get back into cars though, but not for a while. Part of me wants to get like either like an AE86. They're so expensive. I kind of want an RX-7, honestly, another RX-7 or something in the future one day. Maybe RX-7 FCs won't be like completely ridiculous in the future. Do like a swap on it too. Who cares? I just want a fun little Japanese car. That's my thing. But, you know, also in the future, all those, like, I don't know who wants a 87 RX-7 when you can get yourself a 350Z for $5,000. Because we're going to have, like, 350Zs and Infinities and stuff super cheap, hopefully. When they get to that point to where they're old cars, you know what I mean? Because nowadays, the cars that were cheap, like a 240SX or an RX-7, are like 20, 30 grand. You know what I mean? YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Oof. How's our stream looking? Are we alright? We dropping frames? I saw a little frame drop, but it should be alright. Should be alright. You have a G37? Ooh, nice. I like the G35s. The G37s, they, what do you call it? They were like, that's when, they started adding a lot more, the cars started getting a lot more, like, technologically advanced, I feel like, and a little bit harder to work on. The G37's great. But a G35 is like essentially a Nissan Skyline before they redid the Skyline. They called it the Skyline in Japan. The G37s look sick, though. What do they have, VQ37s? Because the 350Zs had VQ35 V6s. What is yours? Does yours have is it a VQ37 they call it? Is it a 3.7 liter V6 or something? Yeah, I'm a Nissan guy, so Infinity Nissan, it's like the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a sick car. I love them. And you see them a lot in all-wheel drive. They should have a rear-wheel drive version, but do they have it in stick? Because I know Nissan, it got super weird with some cars. They weren't even offering, or Infinity weren't even offering stick shift models. It's got to be stick for me. It's got to be stick, and you got to put some shims in the diff or get a aftermarket like 1.5. You don't want a two-way diff. Yours is rear? Nice, nice, nice. Although there's nothing wrong with an all-wheel drive, but I mean, you know. What are we talking about here, you know? Get the bitch sideways. Sport has 6-speed manual? Okay, good. Gotcha. Yep. Good times, good times. Ain't got money for that nowadays, but maybe one day. I do miss it. I do miss driving around in a 240. On a rainy day, just giving it a little around a corner, a little nice little shoot. I took that car drifting in New Jersey. My buddy was smart, put his car on a trailer. He said I was smart because driving a truck with a trailer to New Jersey through the city in Long Island sucks. But I drove my drift car to New Jersey and drifted and came back. Got lost on the way back, ended up in Brooklyn because there was dead stop traffic on the Cross Island Parkway, I think it's called, or something. I believe it's called one of those, something like that. It like follows the water as you're driving along, and it was dead stopped. And I'm in a drift car with no carpet, straight piped, 90 degrees in June or July. It was July, like 4th of July weekend. We went for Club Loose. And I was dying. My shoes were melting in the car, essentially, right? So Well, this one did this. No, I still had carpet in this one, but it was just hot as hell, dude. It was in my other car. My shoes melted one day in my S13. My shoes literally melted because the catalytic converter or the straight pipe or whatever was like, and the turbo pipe was right near where my shoes were, and I had no carpet, and my shoes melted because I was stuck in traffic for 3 hours, dead stop one day. But with my S14, I went off the cross island. I ended up in like Hasidic Jew Brooklyn. And I don't even know, like, I don't even think, I didn't, like, nobody was even driving where I was. I was just driving through, like the Hasidic Jew area of Brooklyn, completely lost, no navigation, or, like, because I had, like, my phone or, like, a map thing. This is a long time ago, too. And somehow I got out of there because I didn't have service in the city. And, like, it was just, everyone was looking at me because I was, like a completely in the wrong area. In a freaking straight pipe drift car, like so loud. Naturally, it was the KA-24, and just all these Hasidic Jews are walking around. They're like, "What the hell is this dude doing here?" You know, I'm like in an area where you should not be driving a drift car. The roads were like fucked. There's like, I don't even know where I am. You know, I'll never forget it though. That was like the wildest adventure I've ever had. And I did end up making it back to the traffic in the Cross Island Parkway or something and, like, getting out of there. I think it was all for nothing. I, like, got lost, wasted all my time, probably almost ran out of gas because I'm not stopping in the city for gas. Screw that, dude. You know what I mean? Ended up in, like, like the middle of nowhere, Hasidic Jew area in Brooklyn. Like, no, like... I'm like, I'm totally going to get arrested, dude. Like, I should not be here in a drift car right now. Like, this is not, like, where I'm supposed to be. But I got out of there. I'll never forget that, dude. That was a freaking trip and a half. I also ripped my engine, not my engine harness, but my wiring harness from my body on the car, fell down from the fender, and was rubbing on the tire on the drift track. So I ended up having to repair about like 100 wires for my wiring harness for my body. None of my lights worked. Everything was screwed up. So I had to like redo my entire wiring harness where the arch of the fender was on the second day there, because otherwise I would not have been able to drive home. So the first day I got to drift. The second day I had to redo my entire wiring harness. Thank God somebody was like on the stands and was like waving their arms as I was drifting. And I'm like, what the hell? And I went, and somebody's like, yo. And I'm like, can you look at my car? And they're like, oh my God, dude, your thing's hanging down. But like somebody saw me drifting over and over again, and my wiring harness was rubbing on the tire lap after lap. So some dude was like, yo, he was like yelling because I'm like drifting around the corner. I'm like mid drifting, like, and there's these like the grandstands where the people can watch, and I see some dude waving his hand. So I'm like my head's turned one way and my car's facing the other, and I'm drifting, and I see this guy like yelling at me. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Thank God though that guy said something, because I would have rubbed through the entire body harness, and like the ECU, nothing would have worked. Everything would have been completely fried. But yeah, that sucks. I had to redo my entire wiring harness for the body on the second day, and I spent like hundreds of dollars to go drifting, but whatever. That's how it goes. Eric got to go drifting. His car probably got screwed up too, but at least he had a trailer. Yeah. The good old days, going drifting. Little tunes going. You'd be okay if you had the Beastie Boys on? I forgot what I was listening to, dude. I was blasting music. I was probably like listening to like Mobb Deep or something. I had tunes going because I remember there was one night, I think it was like specifically like you could go there and they would give you instructions, and everyone was in the back course for like the beginner section. And the big section was like where you go fast and you go into by the grandstands. And they were like, you're good, dude. Go to the front section. And I'm like, what? I don't know what I'm doing. They're like, yeah, just go. Just go. Slam on the gas. don't go too fast, but go fast, and then just get it sideways and just, remember what we told you. I'm like, all right, cool. And this is at Club Loose in New Jersey. And then, so I'm like, all right, screw it. Let's go. I think one of the guys came with me on the first run or something. And then they were like, all right, have fun. Just win it. And I was like the only dude up there in the front other than one other person or something. So I think I was like the only person for a while. So I didn't even have to wait. Because normally when you go to the track, you have to wait for other people, so you get in line and then that dude goes, and once he makes it around the track and it's safe, you can go. I was the only person. So they were like, I kept stopping, and the guy was like, why are you stopping? I'm like, because you're supposed to stop. He's like, you're the only one. Just keep going. Have fun. And I was like flying down the straightaway, like not stopping in between my drift laps. I would come up to the straightaway and like go. It was so sick. It was so much fun. And somebody was there like taking professional video footage. So I have like, and I paid him like $20 to get the footage. So I have like footage of me drifting at that event. It was so cool. That was probably the best I've ever done there. The rest of the times I went there were not as good. I sucked. But that day, I was like locked in because they just let me go for it. So I got to just drift for like 3 hours nonstop. So I got like in the zone. I don't know if I still have it. It was like in an old phone somewhere. It's on Instagram. The runs are on Instagram, and like the beginner runs. But the footage and stuff is on Instagram, like the photos. And I think the dude, like, he only got so many clips, but he got some cool photos that he edited. They're up on Instagram from years ago. Years ago on LI Flies Mike Instagram. Yeah, I don't even think who knows, that was so long ago. I wouldn't even have that footage on any computers or anything. Or any phones. It's just Instagram now at this point. Yeah, maybe we should have... No, I mean, you know what? I like this. I'm happy with it. I was going to say we could have started with the pink in the first 2 ties and then done 4 ties of blue, but... That looks good. The day you were like the Drift King. Hell yeah, baby. You know how much hot version I watched back then? Yeah, then the next times after that, they kicked me off the track one time because I went into the water pit too fast. Dude, I wasn't even going that. I don't know why. I think the guy just didn't like me or something. But they were like, that's it. Get off the track for a while. You went into the water pit too quick. I'm like, what? I think Rev remembers because they had a water pit to cool your tires. You're wasting the water. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Okay, gotcha. But that one day I went to the clinic. That was sick. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, they were like, it was definitely kind of like, I don't know. Club Loose is cool, but it was like, they're all like punk rock dudes. They're like rock. They're like, yeah, they're all, they're drinking and they're like, it's like certain dudes. It's like kind of like a club or something almost, they're cool. But some of the guys I was like, all right, whatever. But I don't know. Maybe I went into the water pit a little too fast, but it really didn't seem like it. But the guy's probably like, get this guy out. This guy sucks. Get him off the track. With this plain Jane looking S14. We like this guy. We like this guy Rev, where every time he keeps having to get out of his car in the middle of the track and reconnect the starter wire to the bat to restart his car. He has to take the wire and touch it to the starter. I'll never forget. I did a run in Rev's car, and he's like, don't stall it because you can't start the car unless you get out, open the hood, and touch the wire to the starter. So I was like, if I stall the car, dude, I'm screwed. Like, everyone's going to get pissed off. So I made sure I did not stall that car. I was like, nah, 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 when I spun out, fucking just revving the crap out of it. Yeah, you remember that. Because we were like, you took my car and I took your car or whatever. And Rev had this, like, hunk of junk S13 with, like, every knockoff coilover part on it. It had been, like, drifted probably 400 times by, like, teenagers previously. It was perfect for a drift car for the track, but yeah, it definitely it was not lawn for the world, that car. Yeah, I remember it because I remember being terrified of if I stall the car, these guys are gonna get pissed. They already got pissed at me for going into the water hole too fast. Also, what's going on, Marcel? How you doing? Hope you're doing well, dude. We're going to wrap up this fly here. We're going to put some glue on it. We'll take a look at the Discord, and I'm going to go eat some food. And guess what? It's official, folks. Do you know what time it is? We got 4 minutes. Somebody call Keith because we made it to 3 hours. We need a Keith emote. I'm going to make a Keith emote, and it's just going to say, I don't know what it's going to say. You guys can help me with the idea. But that's for Keith. I've been hitting those 3 hour marks specifically for Keith. Mm-hmm. You guys want to know what I'm talking about? This right here. I should like it. Let me heart it. This is during the stream, and I think it was because I streamed, and I was like, well, we're close to 3 hours. And Keith R4224 goes, 3 hours? Question mark? Really? Question mark? Nah. ... So I'm like, God damn it. All right. I guess I got to do 3 hours. So that's for Keith. 07's for Keith. We did it. We did it. Let's go. That was for Keith, chat. So it's now a meme where I say it every time where we get to 3 hours. Even if we don't get to 3 hours, I say Keith's going to be pissed. By the way, Keith, I hope you, if you end up watching this, no hard feelings. I love it. We're just turning it into a meme. I hope Keith's not seething over there like, you motherfucker. Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka. He's a legend in the channel. We'll never know. Yeah, he's like, he only watched the stream once. He's like, screw this. 3 hours? Really? Nah. I'm watching this guy. This guy sucks. That, or he's like, every time I say it, he's like, God damn it. Or he loves it. Who knows? We love Keith. We love Keith around here. Do you ever attach Pacharini's, I don't know how to pronounce his name, dragon tails? You know what? I have one dragon tail. I've tried them. I think they're interesting, but I'm kind of like old school. I'm not a big fan of like the mop flies, the squirmy wormies. I kind of see dragon tails as a glorified squirmy wormy mop fly. And I'm just kind of a hater, you know? And I'll admit it, I'm kind of a hater. I'm not a fan of that style of tying. That being said, I think it has its place and its thing. But I've tied with one before, and they're kind of heavy, I think, personally. A giant felt tail on a fly is like, I cast a lot where I'm like casting 80, 90 feet, you know, blind casting for stripers, and I'm casting for 3 or 4 hours. So I'm not super, like, you know, big on that sort of stuff. But I think they're fantastic for freshwater. And even for saltwater, I think they're good too. I do want to experiment with them. I do. I want to give them a fair shot. I'm kind of an old school curmudgeon. What's that guy? Ebenezer Scrooge? I'm Ebenezer Scrooge when it comes to dragon tails, squirmy, wormy, mop fly stuff, you know? Like that modern day, like pre-made materials you could just tie on, and you take your dragon tail, you take your dubbing brush, and then you put a pre-made 3D printed head on it. And there's your fly. You know what I mean? It is a fly, but arguably the dubbing brush is the most fly tying you did on that fly. You know what I mean? No reason. No, thanks for stopping by, Total Noob. Appreciate it, dude. Mikey Dice. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Video game basketball boom shakalaka. That's right. I think I was watching like backyard basketball on like PS2. Djibouti Show was playing it. They're like boom shakalaka. I do like the Dragon Tails though. I think they're cool, and I'll probably try them out more in the future. I'd rather, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'd probably rather have a flat wing tail instead of it, or like a tented hackle tail. But that's just me. I also, I do think the weight is the big thing. It does add a little bit of weight to the fly, and which when you're casting, when you're just blind casting, search fishing for stripers, you want to try and have a fly that's comfortable to cast, because like you're gonna be blind casting for like 2-3 hours nonstop. So it's like, I just don't fish with that sort of stuff a lot, I guess. We're talking about different dragon tails. Now I'm talking about the big ones, the big lawn dragon tails. Dragon tails. Well, that was a cartoon. This is not what we're both not talking about. This dragon tails. We're talking about the fly tying. Yeah, these. Right? This right here. Dragon tails. Not the felt ones, the third photos. Oh, no. I'm not familiar with these. The closest thing in relation I've tied is the wiggle tails. Is that what they called them? Yeah. I've used these. Oh, it's by the same guy, I guess. Powder Chini's Wiggle. Yeah. I've used these years ago. Specifically for Bob Popovic's Surf Candy, where he'll take a piece of mono, attach this, and have the wiggle tail off the back of a candy. Yeah, I think they're cool. I think where you want to use this is if you're tying musky flies. I haven't used this in salt, to be honest with you. Maybe we should try it sometime. But this is generally, you tie this off a shank, or you tie this off a piece of wire, or something like that, or mono off the back, right? So you're not going to tie this off the hook generally, the way that we tie our saltwater flies. And this will wiggle behind it, right? I haven't though. No, I haven't. So I guess maybe we should try them at some point. Even this, I'm not super big on stuff like this, but I am more open to something like this than the larger dragon tails. I mean, it says they could be used for bluefish. So, but the thing is, like, when you put something like this on a saltwater fly, it becomes way more wind resistant. Just the more stuff like this, that it just makes the fly harder to cast. So that's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of stuff like this in general in saltwater fly fishing, particularly for like striped bass or this sort of flies that we tie a lot of times. Because that'll just make the fly just harder to cast in general. Not necessarily, but if you take that and add that to a bucktail hollow fly, it will change the way it casts, right? Also change the way it swims. But you're right. I think it's more of like you see it in freshwater. I bet you that has to do a lot with the ease of fishing. But I'm open to try stuff like that in the future. So that might be a cool video, actually. Let me write it down. Can I I can't copy that? Put it in my notepad. I don't even want to have to type it. All right. All right. Para Cincini or Chiarini? Dragon tail. In salt. Okay. There's a cool paddle tail. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff. I think it's worth trying. You know, is it gonna make it uncastable? Like, who knows? It's worth trying out. You know what I mean? For sure. All right, let's take a look at the Discord. We hit 3 hours. Keith can't say a damn thing. All right, I don't want to hear it, Keith. I don't want to hear it. I've flapped my gums long enough, and we tied 2 beautiful Cowan's bait fishes. First off, round of applause to Henry Cowan for handing out. Appreciate it. Doubt he's still here, but thank you, my friend. And we're going to take a look at the Discord. And then I'm going to go eat some food. I got to clean up. I need to... probably just going to get back to work editing the next battle report video. Okay. I think this is where we left off. Right angler. Because I think you guys posted this after I got off or something last stream. But it looks like ice fishing. Big fat rainbow. Check that out. Very nice. And on a jig he made. Like, it looks like a couple beads with some resin or something. Hell yeah, dude. Looks sick. Very cool. What about thin fins? I'm not familiar with that. What's that? I am not familiar with that. Is that another paddle type tail thing? Dude, this fish is crazy. 30 inches. 30-inch brown. That's the sort of thing, if you showed that to David Nelson, you get him excited. You know what I mean? And on a sex dungeon. God bless Kelly Gallup. Everybody loves Kelly Gallup's sex dungeon, bro. See, that you got to say that when you're out in public, walking around, you know what I mean? And see what people look, when they look at you, your reaction. What the hell is that guy talking about? Yeah, bro, I got like 24 sex dungeons ready for you, ready to go. You just got to come by and pick them up. Just like say that when you're out at Stop and Shop. And see what, like, you know, some old lady next to you thinks. Zeke, by the way, Zeke's killing it, dude. I mean, this is perfect. You know what I mean? This is perfect. This is what you want. You know what I mean? Like, you can even see, like, looks great as well, but you can see, like, the improvement here. Now, mind you, this is bucktail and squimpish and stuff and vice versa, but, like, this, bellissimo. Killer profile. This is the Clousers. And this one looks even better, I think. It's hard to tell, but this one looks even better, I think. I can see you're breaking out the premium peacock curl, by the way. It's the primo shit right there. But very good, Zeke. You're doing a great job, dude. Very nice. Looks great. Looks fantastic. Is there ever any place for a normal bucktail deceiver, or should you just use a hollow tie? Oh, 100%. 100%. You're not always going to have quality bucktail to tie a hollow tie. I fish more bucktail deceivers than I do bucktail hollow flies because I very rarely have hollow quality bucktail that I really like. So I'll tie squimpish hollows, but squimpish hollows swim differently than a bucktail hollow, for instance, as well. Just in terms of like how the material sinks and stuff like that. So even between that, but the bucktail deceiver is like my favorite searching fly, and it's very simple to tie as well. So I can use a crappy bucktail and tie a bucktail deceiver. You know what I mean? When you're not going to be tying hollow flies with subpar bucktail, so you can, but you're not going to get the results you're necessarily looking for. So I primarily fish bucktail deceivers and not hollow flies. If I am fishing hollow flies, they're generally squimpish hollows with some bucktail mixed in. But that's because I don't buy $30 bucktails all the time. You know what I mean? Bamboozle killing it, dude. Bamboozle killing it. That'll probably catch you some big brown trout right there. Wedge head sliders. Size 4 and 6. Or 4-6. Very nice. Oh yeah, and Craggroll. I don't know if you're still watching, but yeah, he reached out because David Smith or Aloha Traveler Flies. That's your name on YouTube, right? He has a lot of experience with those bluefin trevallies, those blue trevallies. So, and yeah, if you guys haven't checked out, we got the new Adachi Clouser, which is out now. Which came a couple of days ago. I'm going to be filming something else here soon. We're probably going to do Henry's baitfish. I'll probably record this tomorrow, the fly that we tied tonight. But if you haven't, check out the Adachi Clouser. Give it a like and you know, all that stuff for the algorithm, of course. And as well, if you guys are interested in help supporting the channel and helping me get even closer to fixing my boat, which, by the way, these videos came out at the same time. The Adachi Clouser has like 500 views, 500 and something views. This 40-something minute long video for Mike Rolls Dice with this edited battle report has 1,400 views. So I'm very excited about how this channel is going to work out, by the way. But I'll give you just a little, you guys can get a taste of what this channel is about. This is what we do here on Mike Rolls Dice. So if you guys are interested, check out Mike Rolls Dice. This is my second YouTube channel. You can subscribe to it, help support. Once I get to 1,000, I'm getting ad revenue, so I'm close. We're getting close, baby. Because the numbers are there. I'm excited after. I'll tell you. But check this out.
1947, on a remote island in the Pacific, deep in the jungle, Japanese forces have found what they're looking for. An ancient ruins from a former kingdom, long since forgotten by the world. But the prying eyes of U.S. intelligence services are always 2 steps ahead, with U.S. jump troops including fireflies and jackals descending on the ruins in an attempt to seize the valuable riches. Who will find themselves victorious and claim the riches of this former empire? In this week's battle report of Conflict 47.
God, this music kicks ass. I love it. I found that song, and everyone's like, God, that song is sick. Like, it's almost, we always get one comment. I found it on YouTube's, like, their free music stuff that they offer you. And I said, yep, we found our Conflict 47 soundtrack right there for the start. But anyways, shout out, because I have a big feeling that this channel is going to outgrow Li Flies Mike in a year or two pretty quickly. But anyways, that being said, we're never going to stop making fly tying videos, streaming fly tying on Friday nights. But it's just nice to potentially have 2 semi-successful YouTube channels. You know what I mean? So that's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, there ain't no Twitch for Mike Rolls Dice. We stream on Li Flies Mike on Twitch. But anyways, chat, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you folks have a awesome night. Real quick, I guess we might as well. Just real quick. It'll take 2 seconds. Let's put some Liquid Fusion on here. But chat, you have an awesome night. You have a great weekend. I'm going to be editing a battle report. We have to record the Magnum Baitfish and edit that. I'll try and have that out Sunday, if not like Monday or Tuesday. And at some point here, I'm going to start working on the new kind of long form fly tying video discussing materials, which I don't know if we're going to be doing feathers or if we're going to be doing natural hairs. But if you missed it, we did over an hour-long video on synthetic materials, discussing various synthetic materials, the techniques, the various flies, just in general fishing with synthetics and everything. So it's pretty much an in-depth guide to everything you need to know about synthetic materials and saltwater fly tying. So we're going to be continuing that series soon, but that's the sort of video that literally will take like a month for me to make while I'm doing everything else, you know, all the other videos. So I am starting to get one ready, though, and get some stuff ready in the background. But in the meanwhile, we're going to keep fly tying, keep doing fly tying videos, and keep having fly tying streams on Friday night. So thank you so much. Thank you to everyone hanging out. We had a good amount of folks hanging out in the stream, so thank you to everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch. Gene, thanks for hanging out. Frosty as well. I am Fish Guy, Sandman, Neves. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And again, shout out to Zeke. Shout out to Henry. We had Craggerol with the resub on Twitch. We have Frosty with the Gigantify skirt emote. Appreciate that. That always cracks me up. Let's see what else. We had Aquarium, which is your name, Kevin? What was your name? See, I got to remember. Charlie. Charlie with the $10 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. And Brendel Flies with the brand new membership. Sheesh. So thank you so much. Good night, Master Instructor. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're calling me by my appropriate title, Master Instructor. Thank you. Thank you, Zeke. But all right. Anyways, chat, you have an awesome night. You have a great weekend, and I'm going to go eat some food. So thank you so much, and we'll see you guys soon. New video probably coming out either this weekend or early next week. All right? So till